KOIKIMEDIA, we're bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
KOIKIMEDIA, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
KOIKIMEDIA, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Àwa sálára àgbáyédá, àwa ló láṣà àti èdè. Gbígbédè lárugẹ nílẹ̀ Oòduà o, àwa gangan ni bàbá.
KOIKIMEDIA, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
They never sabi wetin we carry for her.
But they move closer before they go sabi.
I said they never know wetin we carry for body.
But they move closer before they go sabi.
Ọ̀kín lọ lọ́jà ẹyẹ, kìnìún ló ló lajú.
Ẹyẹ tó dorí kodò bí àdán, ọ̀pẹ̀jẹ̀ lẹ́nu.
Ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ilẹ̀ bàbá wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ìlú bàbá wa, ká jùmọ̀ sowọ́pọ̀ ká lè kó Odùduwà.
Odùduwà kò bá lè gbé wa.
Ọmọ Odùduwà ṣe gírí, ẹ dìde fún ẹ̀tọ́ adúláwọ̀, ká lè jọ jùmọ̀ gbé délẹ̀ ìlérí, ká wálé gba ògo ilẹ̀ wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká lè jọ gbàdé, ká lè gbàdé adé adúláwọ̀, àwa ni ìmọ̀lẹ̀ tí yóò tàn káàkiri.
Pé ọmọ Odùduwà ni wá.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwa là ń gbé tó lárugẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tí wàá máa ní.
Kásá ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà wá kájé bùgbà yín jẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tí wàá máa ní.
À ń gbé tó lárugẹ, à ń gbàsà lárugẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tí wàá máa ní.
News and sports ẹ máa rí gbọ́.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tí wàá máa ní.
Ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi ló ní kí n máa ké tantan. KOIKIMEDIA, ọ̀rọ̀ lágbájúmọ̀ mi o, máa bá ṣẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ o. Ọmọ Yorùbá nìyẹn, ọmọ Yorùbá tata o. À ń gbádùn rẹ, ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi, ṣẹ́yìn ló máa fi dìbò tẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa ń dé mádémádé, ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa wọ̀ o. Igbó máa wọ̀ dájòjì ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọ, àjòjì tó bá wọ bẹ́ẹ̀ á dẹ̀dẹ̀ ní ẹbọra. Ẹ̀yin lọ máa náwó kóyìnbó tó dé, ìgbà tó yìnbó dé o, owó náà dẹ́ tún pọ̀ sí o. KOIKIMEDIA, ṣàwa ni bàbá. KOIKIMEDIA, àwọn ni bàbá.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwọn ni bàbá.
Àdáńtọ́ àtúnpèrègèdè.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwọn ni bàbá.
Àwa là ń gbé tò lárugẹ, jẹ́ ká jọ gbọ́ o.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwọn ni bàbá.
Àtúnjà fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ wa, fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwọn ni bàbá.
Ọmọ Oòduà ni wá o, tọkàntọkàn.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwọn ni bàbá.
Ikú tí ó ṣe bí lébi òsì, àdìmú bàbá iyọ̀.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwọn ni bàbá.
We bring you work closer to your doorstep.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwọn ni bàbá.
Afẹ́fẹ́ tó ń fẹ́ òòdùn kan kí oko lára ni.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwọn ni bàbá.
Àpèrègèdè Olódùmarè ló fún wa ṣe.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwọn ni bàbá.
Gbogbo ayé ẹ gbọ́, àwa ni bàbá o.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwọn ni bàbá.
Ẹ máa bọ̀ wá, ẹ gbé polówó ọjà yín wá o.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwọn ni bàbá.
Odùduwà la gbé dání, òtítọ́ la gbé dání.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwọn ni bàbá.
A kì í sọ̀dálẹ̀, a kì í sóníkèéta.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwọn ni bàbá.
A dúró tán, a tún pèrègèdè.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwọn ni bàbá.
Media, we bring you work closer to your doorstep. KOIKIMEDIA is around
To give us latest.
Is around
To give us latest.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀, ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó kojú gbogbo.
ladies and gentlemen,
Ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀, ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó kojú gbogbo.
That's all. But there seems to be some confusion in Yoruba land. I see that maybe perhaps the generality of the people do not feel as passionate about self-determination. And secondly, there is all kinds of positions. Afenifere is talking about restructuring. You are talking about self-determination.
You don't know this. You don't know the nature of the Yoruba society. You don't. Most of the young people, and they are the majority in Yoruba land, want the self-determination of their Yoruba nation. That's the truth of the matter. That's what is keeping the movement going. And they are also doing so in the diaspora. Yoruba young men and women all over the world want their own country, separate from Nigeria. You cannot deny that. No matter how much you want to pander to the government, you cannot deny that.
But
that's the truth.
But anyway,
the important thing, however, and I'm surprised that you are not talking about that, is that the Yoruba people who are fighting for self-determination are telling the world and telling themselves that they will do it only peacefully. We are Yoruba. We know our status in the world. We know our status in the black world. We do not want to destroy the peace of Nigeria, and we do not want to bring difficulty into the lives of any other group in Nigeria. But we want to get out of Nigeria. That's it.
Well, Prof, you were a strong member.
And you're not talking about that. You are asking me questions. You are asking me questions as if what Onitiri did has the support of the majority of Yoruba people who want self-determination. It is not true.
Well, Prof,
she has a small minority of a section that is ready to do illegalities. A year ago, they went and attacked a radio station in Ibadan, and so on. Now this year, they are attacking the entire government of Ibadan, and so on. No, but we have never sent anybody to go and do that, and we do not support it or encourage it.
Prof,
and we think it is criminal.
Prof,
and so if they get punished for their criminality, we have no objection to that.
Prof, you are a strong member.
You cannot, because of them, generalize opposition to self-determination. You cannot.
Well, Prof, you are a strong member of the Unity Party of Nigeria, also a very strong member of Afenifere. Afenifere is talking about restructuring. You are now talking about self-determination. What is the difference, in these two ideological positions?
Our fathers in Afenifere are doing the right thing, talking about restructuring, so that we can go back and live our own life the way we used to live it prosperously. They're doing the right thing. There is nothing wrong with that. But we, another group of people, larger in number than they, are now saying, no, self-determination is the answer, not restructuring. Why? Because when you restructure, you are still in Nigeria. The people who are coming and disrupting your life and destroying your farms and killing your women and raping your mothers and daughters and so on are still Nigerians. They still have a right to come to Nigeria. The only final solution to that is to separate, so that you have a separate Yoruba country where we can make our own laws and so on, to which we admit only people we want to admit. So nobody can claim that they have a right to come to our land. They don't have such a. But as long as we are in Nigeria, no matter what restructuring is done, they still have the right to come to our land and do the things that we are doing. Nobody is talking about the fact that most Yoruba farmers have been driven from their farms. I am not hearing that. I'm hearing only about government. I'm not hearing about people. You are not talking about the fact that most Yoruba farmers have been driven from their farms and that the Yoruba nation is in danger of famine upon famine upon famine for years and years to come. You are not talking of the fact that the Fulani declared war on Nigeria on the 24th of January and 26th of January and said that Tinubu is not our president. We are going to Aso Rock. We will take over the seat of government there, and we will use this place to organize the conquest of the rest of Nigeria. You're not talking about that. You are not talking of people who said no Fulani man must be arrested for the bomb in Ibadan. If you do, you will have bombs in every town in Yoruba in Nigeria. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about the sheer insult of living in a country where some people are treating the government like that. You are talking about Onitiri and so on. Why do our...
Well, Prof, let me ask you this. Self-determination,
you are entitled to your opinion. You are entitled to your opinion, but what I'm saying is that your opinion rigorously avoids the truth. Rigorously.
But Prof,
avoids the truth.
Nigeria, as Onigo Chiche told us in his research on ethnic nationalities in Nigeria, has over 300 ethnic nationalities. Will you recommend self-determination to all the other ethnic nationalities in Nigeria? For all these nationalities to break away?
Those who want it, don't ask me a general question. I'm asking for self-determination for a nation, the Yoruba nation. There are about 60 million people in Nigeria. And their territory is large enough to be a large country. So that's what I'm talking about. Any other nationality in Nigeria that wants self-determination is free to ask for it. I cannot come and ask for self-determination for nations that are not mine. No.
Well, Prof, as we have this, we're having this conversation. You are in Cotonou, Republic of Benin. Not too long ago, after Chief Sunday Igboho returned to Nigeria.
That's all.
But there seems to be some confusion in Yoruba land. I see that maybe perhaps the generality of the people do not feel as passionate about self-determination. And secondly, there is all kinds of positions. Afenifere is talking about restructuring. You are talking about self-determination.
You don't know this. You don't know the nature of the Yoruba society. You don't. Most of the young people, and they are the majority in Yoruba land, want the self-determination of their Yoruba nation. That's the truth of the matter. That's what is keeping the movement going. And they are also doing so in the diaspora. Yoruba young men and women all over the world want their own country, separate from Nigeria. You cannot deny that. No matter how much you want to pander to the government, you cannot deny that. But that's the truth.
But anyway,
the important thing, however, and I'm surprised that you are not talking about that, is that the Yoruba people who are fighting for self-determination are telling the world and telling themselves that they will do it only peacefully. We are Yoruba. We don't.
All right, we have to cross to the Star Radio UK, where it is all going to be happening this afternoon, this morning. It's 11 o'clock. And after the Star Radio, we will continue the program. My name is Oluwole. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, freedom fighters. Good morning, the United States of Biafra. Good morning, the Oduduwa. Good morning, the Ambazonia. And let's join Archie in the studio. And we come back after that and we have more discussion and conversation. This is KOIKIMEDIA. Let's go straight to the studio and hear from Archie. And I'll be joining them as well soon.
Avenge. Who knows? We don't know exactly. Just speculating. A South Korean leader under pressure as impeachment vote looms. So this and a lot more going to be coming your way this morning. But as I did say, Mr. Olamide Koiki will be joining us in the next few moments. So stay tuned and don't you go away. 2 people have been wounded in Vancouver, stabbing. And then one other story, Trump defense nominee hits out after reports he could be dropped. Whoa. And now here in the UK once again, Russian criminals helped UK drug gangs launder lockdown cash. Ooh, those are big issues that is making the rounds this morning. But wherever you are, this is Star Radio UK, and this is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Vicky Newton, massive good morning to you. Queen Vic, hope you are doing very well, and the family as well. Okay, let's take a quick break, and once we come back, thank you very much, Vicky. Once we come back, I will have Mr. Olamide Koiki joining in to bring you updates from Nigeria. Okay, before I say Jack, he's already there, but okay, a quick break whilst we line him up for you. Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Star Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Star Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
You are listening to Star Radio Morning Show.
Okay, welcome back to the program Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I've got Yomi there, but I can't see his image. I've got a picture there, so I don't know whether he's behind that. But let me go to him. Yomi, good morning to you.
Let me come back in, Mr. Archie. Okay. I'm not sure what is going on my end.
Okay. All right, then. Whilst he tried to sort himself out, he's trying to sort himself out. Yeah, he'll be back with us. But Kogi in Nigeria vows tough action against councillor and others kidnappers. Well, the kidnapping is one thing that is quite worrying when it comes to that part of the world. Yeah, my son has been traveling. He's been traveling with what do you call some of the pastoral teams back there. And it seems that they've been going a lot, but at times I get worried when he's traveling down. He was there with Ashimolo and what's the name of the other pastor? They were there organizing events there. But, well, we'll be talking about all those. But now, let me say good morning to Mr. Olamide Koiki.
Very good morning to you. I know the camera is still a little bit working his own way out, but let's hope that it comes back quickly. But a very good morning to you if you can hear me back in the studio, and good morning to all our listeners and viewers from around the world, and welcome to the Star Radio UK this morning once again.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. We can see your image, and we know that the camera is working, and the technical team there are working on it. So how are you? How is the family? And how is everything?
Well, I'm doing very well, and the family is great as well. And it's a beautiful day. I mean, I was busy yesterday. We couldn't, join you yesterday, but I was listening carefully at the back. And as usual, the family are great, and I hope yours are doing very well as well.
Oh yeah, they are all doing very, very well. As to whether our families back home are doing well, it's another situation. So let's crack on. Now, back in the day, the police have fingered newly formed terror group Lakurawa as a mastermind of an explosion that occurred along the Sandao Gasu Road in Maru local government area of Zamfara State on Wednesday. Now, we thought we are still fighting, Boko Haram. We had ISWAP. Now we got this new terrorist group who are causing mayhem. Yomi?
Well, you're quite right, and it's quite unfortunate that the situation in Nigeria is getting out of hand, and we can only hope that the government will put all necessary mechanism, to put measures in place, to help, individuals, to help, as many that are going through a lot. And I believe my camera is back now.
Yeah.
I believe you can see me now.
Yeah, I can see you now.
And as we say all the time, there is no country around the world where if you're having, the kind of insecurity that Nigeria is facing today, that investors would like to go in there and invest. Before we go into, the event unfolding, this is a road explosion, in Zamfara State. Let's take us back to, what we know so far about these Lakaruwa threat and the strategic imperatives. Remember that about a couple of weeks back, the Nigerian military told us about, these new deadly terrorist organization that have infiltrated Nigeria, just like others. We're talking about ISIS, we're talking about, the Boko Haram. So this particular one as well is just one out of many that we will now have to deal with. So let me first take you through, what I read from a particular, Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. And this was, dated on November 24. Lakaruwa threat, strategic imperatives, disseminate the banditry in the Northwest. And I'm just going to go, swiftly into a little bit out of it. What we know is that these observers of Nigerian security landscape blame the return of Lakaruwa group on the failure of the country's military intelligences and the security agencies to nip the internal security threat at the bud. Although the Nigerian military recently confirmed the emergency of the new armed groups known as Lukarawan, the northwestern state of Sokoto and Kebbi, it is not actually new. But what kind of havoc are we expecting? Rather than the military to go into, the intelligence, they're focusing more in the southeastern part of Nigeria because the hatred that the Nigerians have, for the people in the southeastern part. We'll come back to that. The police have now fingered that the new terror group, Lakurawa, is the mastermind of the explosion that occurred along the Dansadu Gaswa Road in Maru local government area of Zamfara State yesterday. The Lakaruwa group, when they were dislodged by the army in Sokoto and Kebbi, the rest of them survived. The military onslaught were trying to find a new enclave, and it seems that Zamfara State is the new enclave. How many people were affected yesterday, according to the information? Actually, these are not new to the communities because people see them. Remember that I believe on Tuesday when I joined you, we talked about another 50 motorcycle being driven by this terrorist group. And this is how they operate. It seems that, the impunity that they have in the south, in the north part of the country has given where villagers can see them passing through when they are moving around, but the terrorists don't use bomb because they don't know how to make it. According to what we are told, we hope that they will not be able to make it and kill more people, but they are still deadly from what we are told. And the governor says the marauding terrorists whose kidnapping and for ransom trade is booming in the state can be strangulated in 2 weeks with the right political will. What is the right political will? Does it mean that the APC has failed Nigerians again, as Buhari failed for 8 years, even as a former military general?
Wow, listen, it's quite a heart-wrenching story from there. But you were talking about this Zakaruwa group. Now, what Zakaruwa. Yes. What did they stand for?
Well, any terrorist organization stand for maiming, killing, ransom. But like, the governor Dauda Lawal says that, these particular ones don't even know how to use the bomb yet. But what they are for is kidnapping for ransom, trade is booming, and it seems that, the military authority says that they promised to eliminate La Karua, insurgent, and other terror groups like Boko Haram and ISWAP, but that is not happening yet, as La Karua has brought in their deadly terrorists, into Zamfara state, and innocent Nigerians that are suffering for the last 19 years of some of them living in the IDP will have to deal with this La Karua again, as many other insurgency continue to infiltrate Nigerian communities across the 36 states, including the Southeast, the Middle Belt, and mostly as kidnap continue to become a big business across every part of Nigeria. Last week, I believe, last week, about 2 incidents of terrorist kidnap took place. There was a particular one that I will come back to you and tell you, but over 140 million naira were paid with 10 bicycles and many foodstuff were delivered. And this individual, and I'm not making this up, the interview was done to the young boy. There were 2 of them. There were 3. One was released. Lasted 10 months with the terrorists, and they were not outside Nigeria. They were still operating in Nigeria for the last 10 months. And you wonder where the NIA and all the security intelligence that should focus right there, like I said, in the Southeast, creating all military checkpoint, where one of the governors has spoken out, and I'll be telling you which of the governors is now crying out for the military checkpoint in the Southeast.
Well, let's start Radio UK. Now, one of the issues that is quite worrying there, we know that Boko Haram says they stand for no Western education. We know ISWAP is looking at having an Islamic state. Now, that's why I was asking this Kurawa group, whatever they were standing for, but we've not gotten that. We'll try to go into that. But again, where communities see these groupings right through their township, and at times I do say that they have people living in the communities who are perpetrating this act. But again, then it comes to police informants. We're talking about security, sharing of intelligence, but police informants who are supposed to be in the community, who can see these people and then can tell them that, look, we are seeing these people here, what do you think? Well, can you do something about it? And the police, do they get even protection? Because yesterday there was one of the stories that you shared, you sent to us that we were looking at, that is somewhere in the Southeast, where somebody who informed the authorities, security agencies to quell some kidnappers or something of the sort. Later on, these people came to, after the security agencies have left, they've done that, they left, then these people came back to the community and killed the person who they think was the informant. You know what I mean? So do you think
protecting informant around the world is a big deal, because if you're going to allow your citizens to come and tell you things, you must also protect them, because the criminals will always want to come back and create more havoc. Many Nigerians are not ready to give intel information to the military because it's a compromised one. And I can tell you that because there was a particular, development of a young, vibrant journalist known as Fisayo Shoyombo. He's a Nigerian investigative journalist and the founder of the Foundation of Investigative Journalism, FIJ. Last week, Soyombo, got into what we call trouble. And what was the trouble? It was investigating, the oil bunkering and those behind it. And apparently, the military got to to that particular location in the middle of the night, and the rest of those ran away, but he stood behind. And as later on, after I listened to his interview, everything he said while he was taken to the barracks was already known by those that he was, operating with in the den of the oil bunkering where he left in the middle of the night. So the question is, who was feeding back? And this was from the military base where he was being interrogated. Everything he said was already, because those ones didn't know who he was as well. And later on, he had to reveal himself as a journalist. These are what is going on in Nigeria. And it seems that, many Nigerians will not rather want to give any kind of, even those, normal kidnapping cases, like currently, in the almost 4 days now, 6 innocent Nigerian girls are missing in Lekki, and it looks like it's another ritual renewal that took place in Lagos, because these 6 went for what we called, house party, and they've been missing. No information yet. And what happened is, people know something, but if you tell the police, you tell the authority, somebody will come back for you. And that's exactly what Shoyombo had to face, because whatever he said was already back, with those that he left in that particular oil bunkering, situation where is, a lot of concern always rise up, because we're talking about Kogi State. Kogi promised tough action against councillor and others kidnappers. The story goes like the Kogi State governor, where Yaya Bello, the previous governor, we now have Olodo. Yaya Bello is walking around, as a free man, even though, he should be at the back of, the EFCC custody. But again, we know how this works. EFCC said they've arrested him, but I'm sure he's living somewhere in an air condition with probably a pizza order from UK. The Kogi State governor has now expressed his determination to stamp out crime in the state against the backdrop of rising insecurity. This is on the heels of the adoption of 9 persons, including a councillor, by gunmen at the Odo Ekpe community in Kaba, Bunu local government area of the state. This happened as well this week on Tuesday night. This is coming barely a week after 3 persons, including 8-year-old boy, was adopted from the same community. Somebody knows something within the community, but nobody's ready to give out information for their own safety on the particular situation. So the new administrator, Usman Ahmed Ododo, is now promising that he's going to review the onslaught against criminals by activating all security apparatus. No security apparatus will work if you're not working with the community and protecting them to give you the intel about the criminals among us.
Well, how secure are the security? It's quite an interesting one. We'll be telling you more about all that. But interestingly, linking that story to one there, ladies and gentlemen, Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, Miss Olaimi Koikina, North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios. Now, linking it with one of the stories that we are looking at, retired military personnel grounded activities at the Federal Ministry of Finance in Abuja today over unpaid entitlement. Now, we have these people who are supposed to go become selfless, sacrifice themselves to fight all these menaces, insecurity and everything that seems to be going on. But if at the end of the day, they know that when they retire, they're not going to be getting their emoluments, then what's the point? They'd rather compromise themselves, be a mo, make some money, and then when you retire, you can depend on that. Yummy.
Well, it's quite a shameful, that people that served, the country and serve it diligently, and, the expectation is after, the 30 years or 35 years of service, or even if it's just the least years, that they will be paid, for saying thank you so much, because those of us that have our parents, my mom lives there, and I know that, our pension are paid exactly at the time that is meant to pay. She doesn't have to go and cry in front of the parliament or asking, the local government if and when a payment will come true. The question then is, what is happening in the last couple of days is that protesting military retirees have shut down the finance ministry in Abuja over unpaid entitlement. Well, this is not a very good news for President Bola Tinubu and the vice president and the government itself, but I'm sure some of them care less, because if you care, you will not even allow those that serve. These are still people that can be trained, also give help to the current security threat that we're talking about. Remember that every one of them will have worked in different sectors, the logistics, the cook, but let's say a little bit more. Some of the retired military personnel have now granted activities at the Federal Ministry of Finance in Abuja today, Thursday, over unpaid entitlement. I mean, again, the retirees accuse the federal government of not paying them 20% to 28% salary increment from January to November this year. Among their demands are they are being whole payment for palliative guess what, Mr. Archie? From 2023 October till this year, the payment of an additional £32,000 to their pension, the bulk payment of security, the debarment allowance, and the refund of deduction made from their pension. Imagine, we are contributing our pension, and if the time comes to receive the pension has been swallowed by snake and monkey, made from their pension of medical boarded soldiers. And some of them, when they get to that old age, you will need a lot of medical assistance. But as we always say, most of them they've brought in their mat and their chairs, and they've rented a canopy, and they've shut down the finance, ministry in Abuja this morning.
What have been the reaction of the government so far? Have there been any statement from them?
The government doesn't even like us when we come out like this and bring this kind of news out, because to the government it's not a good news that the world should know. But if the government is doing the needful, it is important that then things needs to be put in place. There is not much reaction, and I'm just trying to say maybe there's a development, and from Bayo Ononuga, that is the special assistant to the media of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But the last I saw of him is he was growing some crops, or what does he say? At the back of his of hours. About 10 hours ago, he says putting to rest rumors about Port Harcourt refinery. I was part of the fact-finding team that visited the 60,000 barrels daily Port Harcourt refinery complex yesterday. I will now share our findings. Our mission was verify the rumors that is out there. And again, the other news that I saw of him was Bola Tinubu returned home after visiting France and Cape Town, South Africa. But it seems that Bayo Ononuga in Abuja is not using his microscope or his binocular to see that those retirees have caged the finance ministry. Maybe later on he will send somebody to verify if they are still there or not.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's the edition of the morning show. This is Olamide in North London studios, and I'm actually here in the South studios, and we are bringing you updates from Nigeria on the morning show. Now, moving on straight. Now, you didn't talk about the Port Harcourt refinery. We're talking about Dangote refinery. We've got talking about other small refineries that are there. Now, we're talking about the fact that Dangote was saying that the country or the nation need to patronize his products. But it looks like the NNPCL had done whatever. And information coming through is still saying that the country is importing up to 2.3 billion liters of finished fuel products into the country. Fuel products into the country. Now, we're talking about the scarce natural, foreign exchange, which the country has to depend on. And that's why the president said that the local refineries should buy the crude oil in Naira, so that the monies that we're supposed to be using to import this finished product, we can be using it for something else. But Yomi, if we see that, are these ones trying to sabotage the local refineries, or is it that the local refineries have not gotten to a place where their production or whatever they are producing is able to suffice the whole of the nation? Yomi.
Well, the problem we have in Nigeria is that we have all different cabals in different sectors, and every one of them is trying to make sure that nobody tamper with their business. Especially if businesses have been set up outside the country to favor them and their own little, criminals that should help others. Well, and that is also not helping, the debt in the country. I'll be telling you a little bit about that, because right now the Naira devaluation rises 40 trillion Naira according to the report. But we're talking about fuel import. Well, can we ever stop importation of fuel is the first question that many Nigerians will be asking. Is yes, we can. If the refinery in Port Harcourt, as Bayo Ononuga says, their findings means that things are working there, Nigerians should be, much, prepared that things will be better off as, month goes by, even though it's almost 18 months to this government. Can Dangote refinery, support Nigeria? We're not talking about, other countries yet now. Can Dangote refinery help to reduce the fuel importation, be it the diesel, the PMS known as the petrol. But the report is coming is despite the commencement of the petrol production by the two major refineries in Nigeria in the last 3 months, oil marketers have continued to import and distribute the product nationwide. But the report that we are getting yesterday, the marketers imported nothing less than 2.3 billion liters of petrol between September and December. So how much are we consuming and how much do we need? Is our consumption means that Dangote will not be able to, to put it out there, and that is why production is still coming outside the country. And let us remember, the more importation means that the more the naira will be devalued. The continued importation of petrol is contrary to a public announcement by some group of marketers who earlier stated that the intention to halt petrol import and focus on domestic supply. Let's look at the local refineries. The local refineries giving us about 650,000 barrels per day capacity. But Dangote refinery located in Lagos is doing about 210 barrel per day. Let's put that together and let's ask the question, how much are we using and for how long can we continue to import these products into the country? Because that means that there will be pressure on the exchange rate itself. And that takes me to Cardoso, the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, telling Nigerians again that the naira devaluation rises Nigerian external debt by 30 trillion between 2023 and June 2024 when considered in the naira term. Despite the reduction in the country's debt when measured in the US dollar, the exchange rate shift has made Nigerian foreign obligation far more costly in the local currency. According to the data coming from the Debt Management Office, shows that as at June 1st, 2023, Nigerian external debt stood at $43.16 billion US dollars. But let's fast forward to where we are as at June 1st, 2024. The naira had depreciated by 47.6%, with the exchange rate now at about $1,600 naira to the dollar. And that means that, our debt continue to travel like it's going to the space and nobody's trying to bring it back. But we are now about $42.90 billion as I come back again to you in the studio. A lot of pressure on Nigerian economy, and that is not helping many people as well. Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Yes, listeners, updates from Nigeria with Mr. Oluwole Koiki on the Star Radio UK morning show. Let me say good morning once again to all of you listening to us on the sister platforms, KOIKIMEDIA, Yoruba Nation Media, and those of you, the Biafran listeners and everything. We'll come to that as whether the conference is ended and what has taken place there. But now I will hand over to Yomi for him to bring you the rest of the stories making the rounds. Over to you, sir.
Well, we talk about, Nigeria, but let's first focus on the security, both in the state and within. We've been talking about the Lakurua that have become another, terrorist organization that is creating havoc within the country. Oji Kalu, and I'm trying to get the story back quickly, but before that, let's take you, as that is coming up, I'll be taking you to Netflix. Every one of us know Netflix very well. But after 6 years of operating in Nigeria, it is a sad note that Netflix reportedly leaving inflation ravaged Nigeria to find another market somewhere. You would think that, Netflix, can tap into the market and, as much of, the population, but it seems that is not helping as it is being reported. Netflix is reported exiting the Nigerian market as the country continues to face its worst economic crisis in a generation. The worsened economic situation under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu APC made the decision inevitably, according to the local news outlets reported yesterday, citing officials. We are exiting the Nigerian market, one of the officials says, under anonymity, pending an official announcement. We have lost too many paying subscribers, and the exchange rate of the naira against the American dollar also did not help us in any way. Netflix, remember, is an American subscription video on demand over the top streaming service. The service primarily distributes original and acquire films even as many Nigerian films, Fela Kuta was on it, and many others, the Blood Sisters, Oloto, and many others. But it seems that their relationship with Nigeria is coming to an end. Let's take you now to that particular story of one of the senators. Kalu calls for removal of excessive security checkpoint in the southeast. Mr. Achi, I haven't been to the southeast for as far as 2-3 years, but those that are traveling says that it looks like it's already like a war zone. When you're traveling to the southeast, you come out of the vehicle and you have to march across the military checkpoint, and then you continue after the vehicle has been checked as well. The question is, there's nothing wrong if this is to do with, bringing security measures. But the most part that are ravaging with terrorists, the northern part, does not have any checkpoint. That means that, the whole checkpoint is happening in a particular region. And why is the question? And why is this happening? Why are the targets to that particular region? Means that more of these are why people are clamoring, and also those that have now put themselves as the Biafrans that have left Nigeria, and we are saying what next. The Chairman Senate Committee on Privatization, Senator Orji Kalu, has condemned the excessive security roadblocks mounting across all major roads. And I'm not talking about just one or two. We're talking about major roads. While in Abuja to Kogi State, everywhere is empty, and terrorists continue to pick people and demand for ransom. Has condemned these at the major roads in the southeast region of the country. According to the former Abia governor, call on the leadership of the Nigerian army and other security agencies to now dismantle such roadwork, as such a strategy is obsolete, worsen the already tense security tension in the region. Remember that there is a tension in the country right now, and that tension means that people that say that they do not want to be part of Nigeria are making all push. But while those that believe in Nigeria are saying, look, for peace to reign, we should give room for people to have access. And I think we have an audio for that. Let's listen to him.
Nigeria.
What? Come and say it again, please.
Simon Ekpa's arrest, is this capable of bringing peace to the southeast region?
Say it again. It's from your wire.
Well, it seems that I say it again. That tells you, the kind of connectivity there, where it was being asked question. Let's see if we can get more from here again.
You think he should be tried in Nigeria? Ekpa's arrest.
In Nigeria?
Yes, Simon Ekpa.
Oh, Simon Ekpa. Oh, well, it could be tried anywhere, depending on who's trying him or what they're trying him for. If I didn't arrest him, you didn't arrest him, Nigerian authorities didn't arrest him, wherever they arrested him should try him. They know why they arrested him. And if he's here, if he's arrested in Nigeria, he'll be tried in Nigeria. Since he's arrested...
Senator, you don't know why he was arrested?
He'll be tried in Finland.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, it's only the people that arrested him there know why they arrested him there. I'm not saying it in a sarcastic manner. No, I'm just saying it's only them that there knows why that.
And that is the reaction of Orji Kalu about the current state of situation with Simon Ekpa there in Finland. We come back before that. Let's take you more to some of the headline that is still coming out of the news in Nigeria this morning at exactly 11:36 a.m. Well, we saw, as usual, how the police are used, to square things out in Nigeria, and the reason for that is Dele Farutimi was kidnapped, as people were looking at how he was kidnapped, but it seems that the police are saying, well, he's not kidnapped, he has a case to answer in Ekiti State, but it seems that many Nigerians, and I'm talking about, the show raise and the, take it back, might also stage some protest surrounding this particular news that is developing very fast, across the social media and across the news network in Nigeria. What do we know and what can we share with you? Who is, Dele Farotimi? I think where we can start is to listen to him, because there's a particular book of his that, that was published that is creating the reason why his arrest. He actually said this some few days before he was arrested, but some say Koiki is not arrested, that was a kidnap, but let's listen to him.
I'm the one you are fighting. You don't go low. In fact, all your...
No, that's not the one we're looking for. Let's get you the right one. I believe we should have the particular one where he spoke, about his ordeal, which has now become in reality, the pickup of him to Ekiti State, and he has already even been sentenced, behind the bar while we wait and see. If we can't get the clip for that, we might find something else, to continue the conversation. I'll see if I can find that. But let's listen to Truth Dies in Darkness. This was by the same person that we're talking about, Dele Farotimi. And then if I find the right one I'm looking for, I'll let us know. But let's take and listen to that particular Truth Dies in Darkness.
They are not bambaying with Dele Farotimi. It's not me. If you're looking at me and you think I'm the one you are fighting, you don't go low. In fact, all your intelligence is stupidity of the highest order. You are not fighting Dele Farotimi. Who am I? Who am I? Just like my mentor, Chibari Adebanji, once told Abacha, one bullet. You don't need more than that. But God will give you two. And you and I know. Even your marabouts don't tell you. I know they hear. You are not fighting Dele Farotimi. I'm too small. Money I not get with any one of you. I barely survived. And I thank God for his grace.
Well, the title of the book, which I've got in front of me, says Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System. Dele Farotimi wrote certain things about a particular individual known as Afe Babalola, a senior advocate of Nigeria. He's 95 years old. And it seems that has not gone well, with the firm of, this individual. But it seems that what we know so far is Ekiti Court has remanded human rights lawyer Farotimi and has adjourned the case till next week. According to the Ekiti State Magistrate Court, Ado Ekiti Division yesterday ordered the remand of human rights lawyer Dele Farotimi in the State Coronation Center. Farotimi was arraigned in the court over alleged defamation of character following his book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System, where he alleged, among others, that a senior advocate of Nigeria, Afe Babalola, had compromised the Supreme Court. Chief Magistrate Abayo Amadioshun, after listening to the police prosecutor Samson Osubu, who filed a 16-count allegation to which Farotimi pleaded not guilty, has now adjourned the matter till December 10. But many Nigerians have been questioning, why and whether this was the right way for Afe Babalola, to have, arrested him or call him to question him. But again, this is generating a lot of discussion and conversation, for those that are against and those that are for. But again, as people say, Dele Farotimi was being horribly persecuted and sent to prison. We wish that they could do the same thing with Yaya Bello and the other criminals as across the country, but rather we know how the criminal system in Nigeria works. So that is on that, and I'm going to be talking more about a bit of the development of a letter again, not the one that was sent to number 10 Downing Street, but we have another. I'm not sure whether we talked about it on Monday, Mr. Archie.
Yes, we didn't mention it. Yeah, but you've not.
So
bring us the details. Bring us the details.
Let's take you through. We've reached out to the chief of staff of the government in exile and the new, country, United States of Biafra, Ngozi Orabuzo. I'm still waiting, and if anybody's listening from that particular, we've reached out to her officially, and we're hoping that we should have her on air to speak to us after the 5 days event that has been concluded in the Finland, Lati, as many of their people have returned back to all their bases. But what I can say, so far looking at the government's, office of the Biafra on the X this morning, a lot of development is coming out every now and then. But the only thing I can pick up so far is about 3 hours ago that stated that the government of the United States of the Biafra office of the Prime Minister announcement, dear fellow USB citizens, due to the necessary arrangement, the fundraising will not be happening this particular weekend, has been postponed to next week so that they can put things together. That is the only thing I can pick up so far, but the momentum is still there. I can see that they are live currently as well on the Twitter space with the high numbers of people that are listening. And maybe just for a few seconds, let's tap in to hear what they are saying. Because remember that the government of Tinubu has not said anything yet to all the development in Finland. But what I can tell you is that, you know, the current situation with the BIAFRA government means that they are still pushing for, you know, recognition. But this is what is happening on the space this morning. And let's listen.
Anywhere you are today, especially people in diaspora, you refuse to introduce yourself as a Biafra. I saw people in Cyprus. For the one Banji, I was asking him. He said from Nigeria, I said, I'm a Biafra. He asked me, where is Biafra? Lampedusa. Onye Lampedusa na ndị Jira. Ndị gbara mmiri wee bịa. Salon n'obodo agaghị enye ya akwụkwọ so ya gị nọ 30 years in this country. Nothing for you, nobody, no nothing.
Well, I think what they're saying there is that there are as many people that are diaspora that doesn't want to associate, or, you know, just like the Yoruba people, many people don't want to associate with it. But there was a particular call that came through to me yesterday, and we are still working on the line. Mr. Archie, this gentleman, well, is in his 80s, had a direct seat conversation with the late Queen Elizabeth. And a new development of what he said to me, which we can only still keep until we finish this conversation with him, is that a couple of questions were asked to the late Queen Elizabeth about the 1914 amalgamation. Mr. Archie, there's still a lot that I was told yesterday, but for now, I will leave that because we are still working on it. But these are new development that has not been known before, but it seems that there were a lot of mistake which I can confirm that the royal family admitted to.
They admitted to that, but can there be any change? Will they start any change from there? That is the question. Shema Yadeyemi, good morning to you, and thank you very much for joining us as well. Okay, we know that time is pressed out. But Yomi, before you go.
Well, all I can say again is, you know, the Star Radio UK will continue to give you all the news. The only way you can do that is to subscribe on the channel of this YouTube and the Twitter, the X and the Facebook, so that you can be able to follow all the news development. I'll be back again with Archie, God's willing, tomorrow at exactly 11 o'clock where we're giving all the update. But for now, Archie will take you through the rest of the program while we say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the part of the world that you're watching us this morning. It has been the Star Radio UK network, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Thank you, Yomi. Have a lovely day. We'll catch up later.
Bye for now.
Bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Olaimi Koiki, for you, it's now gone, 14 minutes to the top of the hour.
Coming on, but hey, I'm going to make sure I'll take you through all the other stories making the rounds before we bring the curtains down by 12. Yeah? Okay, so get yourself, get it up, and let's take a flight. Okay? A quick one. We are all witnesses.
To the
now, in other parts of Africa as well,
Palestinian territories, we cannot discuss war and peace, conflicts and resolution, or humanitarian imperatives today without reflecting on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict that has been raging since 7th August last year. Of course, the conflict predates this period and has been simmering for a better part of half a century. What it tells us is that the international community has failed to live up to the spirit and aspirations of the United Nations to rid the world of inequality, violence and domination of one people by another. Justice is antithetical to revenge. Freedom is an inalienable right and a natural entitlement that cannot be denied to any people. The Palestinian people deserve their independence. They deserve to have a home of their own and territories already recognized by this very assembly and by international law, which is being routinely ignored. Nigeria continues to urge efforts to bring back on track the two-state solution that offers the prospect for a new beginning for the region. Nigeria reaffirms to supporting United Nations peacekeeping operations. We recognize the need for Africa to build strong and operational allies to meet the multiple challenges we face. Consequently,
But
we
make we
reiterate the call for international support to operationalize the African standby force, in addition to the provision of requisite support and resources to ensure the upgrade, take-up, and effectiveness. Today, we are all witnesses to the hard
made by some of our founding leaders. And I feel that probably this would help us to have a conversation on the Nigerian unity. I just brought forth not to bore you. First, and I quote, not my statement. Nigeria is not a nation. It's a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as there are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian, I'm thinking about how we've been having this conversation about the unity of Nigeria. And I reflect back at some of the prominent statements made by some of our founding leaders. And I feel that probably this will help us to have a conversation on the Nigerian unity. I just brought forth, not to bore you. First, and I quote, not my statement, Nigeria is not a nation. It's a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as there are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian is merely a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria from those who do not. This is accredited to Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the former Prime Minister of the Western region. The second one, and I quote, it is true that we politicians always delight in talking loosely about the unity of Nigeria. 60 years ago, there was no country called Nigeria. What is now Nigeria consisted of several large and small communities, all of which were different in their outlooks and beliefs. The advent of the British and that of Western education has not materially altered the situation, and the many and varied communities have not knit themselves into a composite unit. This is accredited to Sir Amadu Bello, former Premier of Northern Region. The third, and I quote, since 1914, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country. But the Nigerian people themselves are historically different in their backgrounds, in their religious beliefs and customs, and do not show themselves any sign of willingness to unite. The Nigerian unity is only a British intention for the country.
Impediment to Yoruba development is the impediment to Odua development. Without Nigeria, we won't be where we are. 1962, we were far ahead of South Korea and North Korea. We were far ahead of China even. We had television before France. We had radio before South Africa. Now look at where we are today. I think it's a shame that even any Yoruba man can be talking about restructuring at this point in time. What are we restructuring? This country that is already shot to pieces? I don't think that's what we want. But they are always talking about giving Nigeria a chance. The patience of Yoruba with Nigeria has come to an end.
If you don't allow we Biafrans to go, that zoological republic called Nigeria will be a worse place than Somalia. And today it is happening. And if you have not applied for your Somalian visa, please try and do so. Should I say Somali visa? Try and do so as quickly as possible, because the zoo is on the path of destruction, and there is nothing man can do to reverse it. Mark today's date and what I'm telling you. Nigeria will be destroyed beyond human comprehension. If you don't allow we Biafrans to go, that zoological republic called Nigeria will be a worse place than Somalia. And today it is happening. And if you have not applied for your Somalian visa, please try and do so. Should I say Somali visa? Try and do so as quickly as possible, because the zoo is on the path of destruction, and there is nothing man can do to reverse it. Mark today's date and what I'm telling you. Nigeria will be destroyed beyond human comprehension.
Can do a lot. If a pregnant woman dies in a local government village as a result of dilapidated health infrastructure.
Nigeria is a star. Yoruba nation. No going back. 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 What do we want? Yoruba nation. Yoruba nation. No going back. Yoruba nation. No going back. Nigeria is a star. Yoruba nation. No going back. Yoruba nation.
The weight of Nigeria is not the weight that any normal, ordinary human being can carry, except with the help of Almighty Allah. It is evident, therefore, that the Almighty Allah is with our president. He is carrying the weight for him. The weight of Nigeria is not the weight that any normal, ordinary human being can carry, except with the help of Almighty Allah. It is evident, therefore, that the Almighty Allah is with our president. He is carrying the weight for him. The weight of Nigeria is not the weight that any normal, ordinary human being can carry, except with the help of Almighty Allah.
We had enough of Bajabiamila. Moki Bogwalen, because I say good morning and a very good afternoon. And I welcome to KOIKIMEDIA again. Good afternoon to my beautiful mother, Yemi Fatoki, Waris Jinodu, all our people. Always want to come and listen to us. Shout out to you all. And welcome to the platform. Yawa Dukwe Agwola, love you all. Sending a big hug to me. Thank you so much. Love you, mommy. To all our people around the world. Yeah, when the woman there say, people with this Cyprus, they don't want to associate themselves with Biafra. You don't get people is living in Cyprus doing this job in the toilet where they put perfume on people's body. They want him to go back home. He doesn't want to return back home. They are so much in love with the West. Mr. Brown, Akinola, good afternoon. Olakunle. Waris Jinodu, if Nigeria is an artificial state and scam and fraud, no criminal justice system can come out of it. Yoruba land liberation and self-determination. Láfẹ́ o. Wàhálà tí nìyẹn. Yoruba jí máa sùn. Yemi Fatoki. That Egbon is the only one. When I say I want to drink coffee, he will send money from Nigeria. I don't know how he does it. I love you so much. Who else is there? Ekushe takuntakun bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Pẹ̀lẹ́. Ẹ wọ́ta náà. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa. Mo sì mo kí yín káàárọ̀. Ẹ kí n wá sọ́dọ̀ yín. Try and see if I can make it today. Aziz Gbadesere, ẹ̀gbọ́n mi dáadáa, all the way from Florida, Miami. I cite my people. My Yoruba people. Oloye Igbowo, we go love you, die. Even if they say you don't collect money, we go love you, die. Anywhere you dey go, we dey. Anywhere you go, we dey go. Some people knows is important and its value. You know when something they value is an asset to the Yoruba people. Oloye Igbowo is an asset. When they say something an asset, not asset like the CIA of Bola Tinubu. Who is in the garden? A little fine boy. Can I come and see him? No, no, no. I was reading my comment. There be some Igbo people, they bash us on that comment on Facebook. Onyara, bala, bulu, they talk. Go and get your country. And that's why some Yoruba people say, Koiki, be careful with them. Oh. Be careful with these people. You know we are not one. Even my people say there's one masquerade that is coming to Lagos on the 12th. I've seen the video. And a lot of Yoruba people are not happy about it. Why are they going to bring masquerade to Lagos? I've received the video. Èèyàn mélòó ló ti rí video yẹn? Bàbá kan tó náà máa gbé masquerade wá sí Èkó. I want to ask the question, is it a right thing for him to do in the context of Nigeria that we are today? That is where I want to pick the topic from this afternoon. I want to open it as a public forum. Ó fẹ́ gbé egungun ìlú wọn wá sí Èkó. Is it the right thing to do? In the context of being a Nigerian, you don't believe in Biafra, you don't believe in the breakup of Nigeria. Nigeria is still a country, regardless of wherever you stand. Whether you have got your own country, you are still fighting for your own country. As of today, the world still recognizes Nigeria. That means even if you have a Nigerian passport, it is still working. Olakunleni Lagosians say they will burn down the masquerade. This is not the right time. This is not the right thing at this point in time, despite all the imbalance going on. So who is going to tell this man? Egungun, be careful. Queen Bee Fan Zoo has fallen. Ìbéèrè tí mò ń bí gbogbo yàn. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni Allen Kandini, anybody insulating Igboho Oòṣà is an animal. Akim Ajani Mokin says international journalists now be KOIKIMEDIA worldwide. Olujimi Kayode Okolawole Moki gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní Côte d'Ivoire. A lot of Yoruba people dey Côte d'Ivoire. Ẹnìjọ́ mẹ́ta yìí, I'm receiving a lot of their calls and messages with prayers. Moki Mr. Michael Fashoyin, you don't believe in Nigeria, you don't believe in Yoruba nation, you don't believe in Biafra, but is Nigeria ever going to war? So my food, I can smell it from here. So I'm going to give us something to work with, and then I will come back as soon as I finish my meal, because it's already lunchtime and I know they're Nigeria, so I don't have to starve my worms under me. But I just don't want to go away without greeting my people. Omobolaji Abdullah, I cite you. Shout out to everyone that have joined us. Edith Oge says, good morning, my brother. Larry Lamina, good morning to you. So let's listen to something that I was looking for. Should we play Aerosmith? How many people remember that man? He died in 2007. Aerosmith told us about how British rigged the election and all that. Should we listen to that? And that would take us a bit of time for me to finish. Give me a bit of time to complete my meal. Shout out to those of you on the Mix LR, Aki Games, and the rest of you. We love you all. My name is Olayomi Koiki. Good afternoon, Mr. Adekunle Ramon. Ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ gbọ́ Aerosmith. And that way, we go work with a lot of things. Iṣẹ́ wa fúnlẹ̀ wa, orílẹ̀-èdè wa, ká gbéga, ká gbéga, ká gbéga fáyé. Ìgbàgbọ́ wa ni pé bá ti bẹ̀rù làbọ̀ mọ́. Ká ṣiṣẹ́, ká ṣiṣẹ́, ká ṣiṣẹ́, ká jọlá. Ìṣọ̀kan àtòmìnira ní kẹ́jẹ́ ká máa lépa. Ìtẹ̀síwájú, ọ̀pọ̀ ire àtòhun tó dára. Ọmọ Oòduà dìde, bọ́ sípò ẹ̀tọ́ rẹ. Ìwọ ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀. Or maybe I should do this. If I get through to this person and I tell him if he has the time to just hold on to the program. If otherwise, let's see if we get Makonjola. Moki Bugwale and Consi. Let's see if I get Makonjola. If not, I will put Aerosmith on. Moki Bugwale and Consi. there is tension on the ground. All right, let's leave him. It seems he's not available. But this is what he wrote and sent to me some few minutes ago. And let's read it quickly before we send it to our blog. My ancestors, from centuries of generation of historical origination connected to the eras prior to the creation of the colonial Nigeria as an unworkable federation, are a distinct indigenous Yoruba with their natural system of government known as traditional federalism. Due to the above non-contestable fact, I am a Yoruba citizen because my natural family lineage are Yoruba before Nigeria was forcefully created by foreigners, forced a strange and artificial identity out of nothing and imposed self on us by gunboat diplomacy over our territory of our dear Yoruba homeland. If the Yoruba conservatives are forcing the Yoruba people, especially those of us at the forefront of the Yoruba struggle for maximum self-determination within the context of the permanent, failed and destructive pan-Nigeria British experimentation, and wishing that the Yoruba freedom fighters never to align or have any genuine alliance with already declared United States of Biafra, then we ask from this anti-self-determination element that if they are telling us not to align or have a strategic alliance with the people of the USB, United States of Biafra, is Nigerian slavery, undeveloped and destructive politics of regular genocidal killings and dominant permanent confinement of lost hope by the others, should the Yoruba people perish because some few Yoruba were benefiting from one Nigeria, we honestly asked with a question mark. What is the disadvantage of having a strategic alliance with already declared free Biafra and remaining as an endangering people of Yoruba people under British Fulani ownership forever with a question mark? The Yoruba universal concept of we the people and indigenous entity of Yoruba land is fundamental, greater than any Yoruba individual superstitious interest within the context of one Nigeria that serves and protects the criminal interests of few Yoruba in Nigeria and those in diaspora. It has come to our notice that the selfish interests of some Yoruba Confucianists and their mere bad opportunistic posture hidden under the banner of Yoruba interest first in the politics of Nigeria, kicking against and condemning the actions and celebrations of genuine Yoruba freedom fighters and sons and daughters of Yoruba land for celebrating successful declaration of the restoration of the freedom of the people of United States of Biafra, who are making encouraging statements in favor of the Biafrans. What the Biafrans has done is to successfully de-amalgamate themselves, their recourse territory away from what the British undemocratically engineered in 1914. Some interest from the South under whatever organizational or pan-Nigerian disguise move for pocket enrichment and evil capital wealth accumulation never wanted their own people to recover their stolen sovereignty which the British stole from them and handed over to the Fulani one Nigeria. To this set of Yoruba, we are telling you once again that one Nigeria is gone and all the indigenous nations trapped within the collapsing one Nigeria, and those who are choosing to recover their stolen sovereignty from Nigeria shall have this done successfully, and there is nothing any one of the one Nigeria unity promoters or destroyers of the people's life can do about this. As the flames of freedom of the peoples to be liberated is burning over the landscape of artificial one Nigeria, the pseudo federation, it is becoming goodbye to one Nigeria and too late to save it. The Biafran are gone, the Yoruba nation is going, and the rest of the rest of the nations in Nigeria will soon follow. Good night, Nigeria. Adigun Makojuola. What a very powerful line there from a brother, a fighter, to tell those that are saying, why are we celebrating the USB? Some are even saying an online country. Okay. Whether an online country that doesn't have any foundation or the Nigeria that has foundation, time will tell between every one of us. So I got to go and have my lunch, and then I will come back. But if you're still with me, don't go anywhere. Nazim Badim Bamidele Ekarosa, Baba Joseph Ajiwole, Wani Ekweto Baba Koiki Media. The time has come, not time to waste, but we need to fund the movement. The Yoruba movement needs a lot of funding so that all the strategic part can be concluded swiftly. So I'm going to come back after this video. Don't go anywhere yet.
Hello. And Mrs. Carol Smith, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
May I say how delighted we are to be on Passion. We've looked forward to speaking to an African television station for decades. This is something we have looked forward to for such a long time, and we are so happy to be here.
Thank you. Mr. Aaron Smith was a young, bright, and principled Oxford University graduate who was recruited by the Colonial Office and posted to Nigeria. He took his final examination a year ahead of his class. He also married Mrs. Carol Smith, whom he met while they were both at Oxford University. Together they went to Nigeria, where they had their 2 children. Mr. Aaron Smith, you were featured in a program recently by BBC Radio 4,
yes.
Titled Document,
yes.
And that was hosted by Mr. Mike Thompson.
Yes.
You are alleged that the British government rigged the first and most important election in the history of Nigeria in 1959 in favor of the North. Am I correct?
Yes.
How long were you in Nigeria for?
From 1955 to 1960. And we were based in Lagos. I was on the staff of the Department of Labour. I was largely occupied with employment problems, all the employment exchanges, and statistics, and international reports, and was kept pretty busy. I was also stationed in Lagos in charge of the capital and the port. I was the port labour officer as well, and I also devised a port labour scheme and later a social security scheme, which was one of the first in Africa, which guaranteed workers some income after they'd finished work. It was a providence scheme. As I say, it was called the National Providence Scheme, and I was very proud to have put that on the statute book.
I was going to ask you what your role is. You've mentioned 3 important. Is there any particular name given to your office while you were there?
Just labour officer.
I was a labour officer, a senior civil servant.
Okay.
I only intended to stay in Lagos initially for 2 tours of duty. Although, because of this conflict with the elections, there were difficulties. Actually, government wouldn't let me leave the civil service. They were determined that I should stay in the civil service after my 2 tours. And I was offered very considerable incentives, including a knighthood, to stay and work for government. Primarily this was because I had access to state secrets. I learned, and the Governor General himself confirmed this to me, that the elections were rigged, contrived. The intention was that the North should rule Nigeria. Even in '56, the Northern leaders were very proud and were saying, if they couldn't run Nigeria, never mind elections, they might not join Nigeria, they might leave. And we all thought, well, how would they survive? There were no industries, there's not a great deal of agriculture, some groundnuts in the north. This wasn't very practical at all. And then it was, the Governor General seemed to be thinking that the North couldn't, even if it won an election, rule Nigeria by itself. The South wouldn't stand for that. So there had to be a partner, either the Igbos in the East or the Yoruba in the West, to team up with the North. What he didn't want was for the two southern parties, the Igbo and the Yoruba, to team up to form the government, because he believed the North wouldn't tolerate that and talked about leaving the federation. So as I learned, in a small way at first, but very rapidly I learned about the election fixing, and as I say, this was confirmed to me by the Governor-General. He actually said that he wanted me to know the truth because he wanted me to know how much trouble I was in.
You mentioned statistics, you were collecting figures. Yes. Is that for labor and unemployed people only, or general?
Primarily, but obviously my interest was in the population
of
generally.
Nigeria.
Yes, and Oluwole, the Yoruba leader of the action group, yep, and Chief Enaharo, they too, other people were saying, where are all these millions of people in the North? Where are they? We're going up there to campaign. We want to know, you know. And you see all these, you know, thousands of miles of not very developed countryside, and yet the Northerners are claiming that their voting registration figures are larger than in the South, you know, larger, far more people up there. Well, actually, if you went through the Igbo land, you know, Enugu and that, you saw lots and lots of people. If you went to Ibadan, again, Ibadan teeming, you know, with millions of people. But we didn't actually see many Northerners, and obviously not many Northerners at that time came to Lagos. So this did arouse suspicion. Now, the Europeans, you know, not stupid, we are watching what's going on in Nigeria, and we too are beginning to feel there's something not quite right here, that maybe the elections are not going to be as straightforward as they're meant to be. Nigeria was being described as the showcase of democracy, and it was expected that the nationalist leaders would win through. But actually, when the election results were announced by the Governor-General, before the vote was even in, he didn't vote, didn't count for that, he didn't wait for that. I have to tell you, the British were counting the votes, and the British cannot be trusted. They look after their friends. Loyalty is the big thing for the British. And we were friends with the emirs of the North. We looked on people like Enaharo and Oluwole as rather dangerous people. They might even be communists. That's ridiculous, actually. They couldn't be communists in 1,000 years. But this was a sort of thing that was being said. And we were, Europeans, were getting a bit worried about all this. It wasn't quite the honest, straightforward election that we were hoping for.
Apart from Professor Anderson and Dr. Patrick Wilmot that supported your submission on the rigged election, there were other people who also served in the colonial office in your days. I mean, who opposed to this submission?
Initially, I was warned of what was going on by my senior officer, a Major Bunker. I didn't know, and I knew that the Governor-General had directed me to take all the office staff of the Ministry of Labour to help Chief Okoti Igbo in politicking in Warri. And this was most irregular, and I refused to do this. Having refused an order, I know what the drill is. You resign. I resign my post. That is the proper thing to do. What they did then was rather devious. They persuaded me to withdraw my resignation, and when I did, they sacked me. It didn't go through, but I thought this was a bit low after I'd resigned and was prepared to leave the country. This was not very nice behaviour. They later withdrew this and said that I had been of some service to the state, and actually commended me for what I had done, and said I could leave Nigeria with splendid testimonials, and we shook hands on this. And this was done with the recognition of the Deputy Governor General, Sir Ralph Grey. And then I left Nigeria the first time and took up a job as a personnel officer, a very big job, with the Esso refinery. And then government came after me, declared that I was a traitor, and I had betrayed the British people, ought to be imprisoned, and I lost that job. And then they came to me again and said it's all been a big mistake, dreadful mistake. I'm a jolly decent chap, you know, Oxford chap, and they put me on a plane straight back to Nigeria, where I'd make up for the time I'd been away. There was a great deal of good work for me to do, and we fell for this. We shouldn't have gone back, but we did.
Now, if you recall what you said about the role of the Governor General and the attitude of the British government in particular, regarding the fear that Awolowo, Okotie-Eboh, and the lot of them from the south are dangerous. Is there a particular reason? Why the fear from the British government? Is it that they don't want to release or relinquish Nigeria? They still want to control Nigeria?
They knew that the North would do as they said after independence. If it had any, the North would just, because it was their habit, they liked the British, whereas the nationalists were an unknown factor. Actually, when they took the flag down and hoisted the Nigerian flag, not one of the major nationalist politicians was there. They weren't even on the platform. This was incredible. These were the people who had sought independence. The people in the North didn't want independence. They didn't want the British to leave. So this was a farce. And for most Europeans who were very close and watching this, we were disgusted. We thought this really had been manipulated, this election. It was unworthy. It was unworthy of the British people, this. This was no honest, straightforward thing that you would expect Britain, the mother of parliaments, to do. This was cheap and low and criminal. And I opposed it. And I opposed it then, and I've opposed it ever since. And I'm telling you the truth. And I was warned, if I told you this state secret, my life could be forfeit.
Earlier on, you said the British government wanted the North in alliance with either of the southern region, either with the Yorubas or with the Igbos.
But Awolowo,
without which they cannot
they can't do it this
rule the country.
The problem was that Awolowo was a highly principled man.
Okay.
You didn't talk to Awolowo about squalid deals and fixing things. Awolowo was not that kind of person. If you read his books, this man was a world statesman. And his young lieutenant, Chief Enaharo, was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. However, they did do a deal with Zik, Dr. Azikiwe, from the East. Dr. Azikiwe, there was this big problem in Nigeria. It's the same big problem in America and in Britain. How do you get funds to fight elections? The candidates in Nigeria had no money, but they did have marketing boards, which were a kind of semi-nationalized industry. And they borrowed money from the marketing boards. But there was a suspicion that Dr. Azikiwe, who has formed his own bank, the African Continental Bank, was actually bankrupt. But he was borrowing very large sums of money from the marketing boards and not necessarily repaying the loans. We knew this. We had a great secret service. All the politicians' phones were tapped. All the politicians' mail was opened. Everything that any major politician did in Nigeria, we knew in hours. We watched. We knew all that was going on.
Are you saying, in essence, that Dr. Azikiwe took money?
He was blackmailed by the British to do our bidding. We told Dr. Azikiwe that he could go to prison if an inquiry was carried out into his bank and his financial circumstances. However, we would not want to be vindictive if Dr. Azikiwe was cooperative in helping forward the plans that we had made in the best interests of Nigeria. Dr. Azikiwe has nothing in common with the northern politicians. He loathed the northern politicians. But Dr. Azikiwe went north and did as he was told. And what he was promised was this. The real power, effective power, would be in the hands of the northern emirs. However, it would look great if the president was Dr. Azikiwe and he was given a field marshal's uniform and an admiral's uniform. He asked, please, could he have a row of medals? But they said, well, no, that was a bit difficult, to get the medals. So when the ambassadors started arriving, he was known to be asking people from foreign countries, perhaps they had a medal for his uniform. We thought this was terrible, but it was said that this happened. He was very vain. And for a time, he functioned as first the Governor General, and then when Nigeria became a republic, as the president. But he had no power. And when he did try to tell the army, he said, I'm the field marshal, the army has got to do this. They said, hey, you're just a ceremonial figure. You have no power. The Prime Minister, Balewa, gives us our orders. So there was a feeling then that there was going to be trouble. And then it was because the Awolowo and the Action Group had become the official opposition. What we British wondered, how could they win another election without the British counting the votes? There could not be another proper run election without us there. We knew what we were doing. We were just helping things along. We were doing what the British do, favouring our friends and looking after our own and repaying favours. We don't call that corruption.
Right. I mean, in essence, what Dr. Azikiwe did, it was forced by the British government to do it.
Yes.
Collecting money from the marketing board then.
Yes.
So if any politician here in the United Kingdom tried to do that,
be in jail.
It will be in jail. So why did the British government refuse to take action?
Because
or comment on
if we nipped it in the bud, because we knew it was happening, it was even happening in, let me be fair, in the West with the Awolowo. They were taking some money. They meant to repay it perhaps, but they were taking money. And I would have said, issue a warning now and say, you've got to behave, because if this is allowed to go on, it'll be a major offence. However, before they actually ran the 1959 election, they needed money for the North and for the NCNC, Dr. Zik, to fight the election. So what they did, my senior officer, Major Bunker, went around, was ordered by the Governor General to go to all the major British firms and international firms, Ford, UAC, Leventis, all these firms, and raise money for a slush fund to enable Chief Okoti Igbo, together with the North, to fight the 1959 elections. The North got most of their money from the native authorities. This was looked on by the British as being okay. This wasn't corrupt because we were friends of the North. And if they tried this in the West or in the East, we might have said this was corruption. But because it happened in the North, the native authorities, public money, was poured into the government party, the NPU. So this obviously was a terrible fiddle. We were discriminating against the southern politicians in favour of these northern emirs. What we saw was that this would not be the first act of treachery. They would have to smash the action group, because the action group was strong, and in a fresh election they would be sure to win. They were pretty honest and regular guys, and a lot of the British quite admired Oluwole for his brain power, and they admired Chief Inahro, who was a bit cheeky and young and spirited, and they were both quite admired, you know, as they were like right-wing Labour people, nothing revolutionary. And so a great deal of money was raised by my senior officer, Major Bunker, before the 1959 election. And this was money put up by United Africa, by Ford, Shell, BP, and my wife, who was the personal assistant to the general manager of BP Nigeria. She's not going to tell you anything because she was a confidential secretary. I can only tell you that we were very well informed on some of the hanky-panky that was going on in Lagos.
Having revealed now that the election of 1959 was rigged, the census figure were cooked, I don't know if you have been following the ongoing in Nigeria today.
Yes, of course.
The last general election,
yes.
The 1979-1980 election, I mean, in which Azekwe was the beautiful bride, and I mean...
But I have to tell you, sir, that I'm not going to comment.
Okay.
I cannot interfere in Nigeria's domestic politics. I'm a historic figure. I do keep up, naturally, because I love Nigeria, and I've kept up with its history of its assassinations and military coups and dictatorships for 50 years. And this has been one of the biggest tragedies in world history, because this potentially was one of the greatest nations on earth. Nigeria was packed with educated, decent people who wanted to serve their country.
Since you lost that job that the government threatened or went behind you to say that you were disloyal to them and you were fired, have you ever worked any other place since?
Have I?
Have you worked in any other company
Yes.
since?
I didn't go to Oxford in the usual way. I came from a very poor family and left school when I was 13 years old. And I served a factory apprenticeship as an engineer, which is very unusual for an Oxford undergraduate. At Oxford also, I trained as a social worker. I'm a fully qualified social worker. So although, and as a personnel officer too, although the government stopped me working when I returned to this country and I was quite ill, I did a lot of voluntary work from this time on, both in the medical field, in the field of young girls. We also had campaigns on comprehensive schools. So I've kept very busy over the decades, although I have been kept out of employment quite deliberately. And when I did take up work, the government came after me and behaved abominably. And they did the most appalling things. They framed me with money missing. When I worked as a humble postman, after I'd worked as a personnel officer, I delivered the post to the workers who I'd employed. And they forced me out of that. They framed me. And later, when I was working in a labour exchange, they used the foulest methods to get me out of work. They told me they would. They said, the Governor General said, unless you do what I say, you will never work. Hello.
And Mrs. Carol Smith, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
May I say how delighted we are to be on Passion. We've looked forward to speaking to an African television station for decades. This is something we have looked forward to for such a long time, and we are so happy to be here.
Thank you. Mr. Aaron Smith was a young, bright, and principled Oxford University graduate who was recruited by the Colonial Office and posted to Nigeria. He took his final examination a year ahead of his class. He also married Mrs. Carol Smith, whom he met while they were both at Oxford University. Together they went to Nigeria, where they had their 2 children. Mr. Aaron Smith, you were featured in a program recently by BBC Radio 4,
yes.
Titled Document,
yes.
And that was hosted by Mr. Mike Thompson.
Yes.
You are alleged that the British government rigged the first and most important election in the history of Nigeria in 1959 in favor of the North. Am I correct?
Yes.
How long were you in Nigeria for?
From 1955 to 1960. And we were based in Lagos. I was on the staff of the Department of Labour. I was largely occupied with employment problems, all the employment exchanges, and statistics, and international reports, and was kept pretty busy. I was also stationed in Lagos in charge of the capital and the port. I was the port labour officer as well. And I also devised a port labour scheme and later a social security scheme, which was one of the first in Africa, which guaranteed workers some income after they'd finished work. It was a providence scheme. As I say, it was called the National Providence Scheme, and I was very proud to have put that on the statute book.
I was going to ask you what your role is. You've mentioned 3 important. Is there any particular name given to your office while you were there?
Just labour officer.
I was a labour officer, a senior civil servant.
Okay.
I only intended to stay in Lagos initially for 2 tours of duty. Although, because of this conflict with the elections, there were difficulties. Actually, government wouldn't let me leave the civil service. They were determined that I should stay in the civil service after my 2 tours. And I was offered very considerable incentives, including a knighthood, to stay and work for government. Primarily this was because I had access to state secrets. I learned, and the Governor General himself confirmed this to me, that the elections were rigged, contrived. The intention was that the North should rule Nigeria. Even in '56, the Northern leaders were very proud and were saying, if they couldn't run Nigeria, never mind elections, they might not join Nigeria, they might leave. And we all thought, well, how would they survive? There were no industries, there's not a great deal of agriculture, some groundnuts in the north.
Nigeria is a star. Yoruba nation. No going back. 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 What do we want? Yoruba nation. Yoruba nation. No going back. Yoruba nation. No going back. Nigeria is a star. Yoruba nation. No going back. Yoruba nation. No going back. Yoruba ẹ̀yin ọmọ ọ̀dọ́ tá a jọ ń káàkiri ọ̀dọ́jọ́ ni wá ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ kí a fi àyè gba Fúlàní lórí ilẹ̀ àwọn bàbá wa ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bú ọba mọ́ ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bújòyè mọ́ nígbà tá a la fẹ́ jà fún àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ wa táwa ń kọ́kọ́ ń bú ọba tá à ń bújòyè èmi náà ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ rí bọ́ mo pera mi padà ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bú àgbààgbà kankan mọ́ ẹ mọ̀ bolóṣèlú kankan ẹ̀rù kálukú ń bẹ̀rù wọn ò lè sọ̀rọ̀ ọba ò lè sọ ìjòyè lè sọ ẹ jẹ́ ká ronú ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bá àwọn bàbá jà mọ́ ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ bú wọn mọ́ ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ àṣẹ wọn àwọn ará pẹ̀lú wọn àwọn àgbà tán bá jó lóṣèlú tá a bá fẹ́ kọ́ wọn rìn wá lọ́wọ́ á gbé wọn mọ́ra á gbé wọn mọ́ra ni à ní bú wọn mọ́ ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ àṣejẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ àdàlúrú a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì yìnbọn a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì dàlúrú gbogbo protest mo ṣe ní ìlú Nàìjíríà mi ò rí ibi tí mo ti ẹnìkan lè sọ pé mo pààyàn tàbí mo jó nǹkan náà tàbí mo bà nǹkan jẹ́ mo lọ písù torí pé olówó lèmi náà tí ò bá sólówó lára ń dì mọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tọ́lọ́run fún yẹn lọ́lọ́run fún mi mi ṣe tálákà tó dé pé mo dìde fún jà Yorùbá big man ni mí àwọn tó jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi tó súnmọ́ mi tó ní owó ní kí ni mo wá lọ bẹ̀ pé sọ́wọ́ ni mò ń fẹ́ ni kí n sọ yìí tí mo fẹ́ mo ní ìsọ̀rọ̀ owó àní ọ̀rọ̀ ìran mi ni mò ń sọ kí n wọ gbowó kí n gbéra kí n pé mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ ọba àgbowó mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ oníbodè òfin gbowó kí n kójó wọlé kọ́kàn mi balẹ̀ kí n dá wa mọ́tò kí n mọ́ rìn bọ̀ kí Fúlàní mọ́ da mi dúró ń títì kí n délé kí bàbá sọ pé kí n gbé tírélà sùn kí n mọ́ gbé lọ àwọn bàbá wo lè lóko mọ́ wọn ò lè lódò ẹ jẹ́ ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ká ti àwọn bàbá wa lẹ́yìn ká dá security ti wá lẹ̀ ká sọ fún wọn kí wọ́n bá wa fọwọ́ tì í ká lé wọn kó nu oko wa ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ Jésù Olúwa wa.
Mokiwa, and welcome back to the transmission. And thanks so much for holding back. Mokiwa Lenkonsi. It's been, as usual, the Yoruba Nation Network on KOIKIMEDIA. As we continue the awareness on our own side, and as we continue to monitor the situation with our BIAFRA, Libiti or Bashede, from our own side, nothing more than awareness is the only thing that we will focus on. And that's exactly what we will be doing. So if anybody wants to know that there's anything more than awareness, pé kí ló dé tá tí declare Yoruba Nation, kí ló dé tí Yoruba Nation ò tí wá sí ìmúṣẹ, all those questions are legitimate questions, but the answer, and the answer means that we can only wait for our leaders that we believe in to give us the next line of actions. But kò ní wá sọ pé torí àwọn kan ti make a declaration, and that means we will just go and sit back because we are running our own awareness and the self-determination campaign as we were doing prior before I went on a 5 days marathon with the convention in Finland. The convention is finished and our full transmission is back on the network here on KOIKIMEDIA. Moki Egbomi Adekunle. So maybe you have been asking those questions that I want to declare. Kí ló dé tí Yorùbá náà ti declare? Like I said, all that are legitimate for you to ask. But my job is, we have not been told that there will be a Yoruba declaration anytime soon. So that can get it right. But we have been very busy on this channel, especially with the campaign towards the right of the Biafrans, which I believe is the right thing that they are doing. And I don't have any regret or any reason why we should not use my media to promote exactly what they want. So, koma di pé ama ma shira wa gbọ́. So, mo fẹ́ ká clear air lórí yẹn. But níbo la wá wà, níbo ló kù sí, àti kí ló kù tá fẹ́ ṣe. We will continue with our diplomacy. Whether it will work, it's not going to work. We will continue with creating our awareness to Yoruba people, especially those that do not agree with the self-determination. Because many Yoruba people accept the Oyekalo Kuro Nigeria. So how do you convince them? How do you tell them the truth as against what the politicians have been telling them? So this is where we need to continue with all the awareness. And awareness no dey finish. Even when you have your country, you must still create awareness to your people. And that's exactly, what we are doing on this channel frequently. What are the other ways we should prepare for our own exit in the eventuality when we will be asked to go and prepare? Nobody has been asked to go and tell you that there will be a declaration of Yoruba in the next few months or weeks. It took the Biafra 2 years, if I'm right, before they got to December or 29 up to December 2nd, when they have their convention and the restoration of the Biafra in Finland. So Tiwo Bawani Ojekawa náà ti declare Yoruba nation now. Ó yẹ kí Yoruba nation ti jáde mú kí àwa Táíwò Kíkẹ́ Fásọmí. Like I said, it is easier said than done. So mo fẹ́ ká get yẹn clear. Kò ń ṣe ọjọ́ kan làwọn Biafra lọ́ fi pètò gbogbo tẹ̀rí yẹn. Kò dẹ̀ ń ṣọjọ́ méjì, kò ń ṣọjọ́ mẹ́ta. So ìwọ tí ò tí mọ̀ pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn tó wà against the movement wà wọ́pọ̀, but ìyẹn ò ní dá ìrìn àjò wa dúró gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwọn tó fẹ́ òmìnira pé kó dá dúró. Àárín méjì ni a rí tí Dúpẹ́ Onítìrí wá ṣe. Àárín méjì lára àwọn tí wọ́n náà wọ́n máa support Tinubu, not àwa tá gbúrò lórí Yorùbá nation. So don't come and tell us that Biafra ti gba country wọn náà. Ìjọ́ wo làwa náà máa gba country tiwa? Ọlọ́run ló ní àsìkò. But Ọlọ́run ò ní sọ̀kalẹ̀. Èèyàn nú ẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ gbìyànjú. Ìgbìyànjú yẹn la ṣe ń bá lọ. Alright, ẹ̀gbọ́n mi máa check ẹ̀. Ìgbìyànjú yẹn òun náà ni a wà lórí ẹ̀ yìí. Torí pé tó bá jẹ́ pé ìgbìyànjú yẹn ó ti wà enough ni, a ní jókòó láti máa wá tún ṣe program kankan mọ́ báyìí. Ṣe lákọ̀ máa accept pé a ti wà nínú country wa automatically. And even tá bá tẹ̀ gba country wa náà, iṣẹ́ ṣì pọ̀ lọ́wọ́ wa tá máa ṣe. Iṣẹ́ pọ̀. But nígbà tá ìdẹ̀ tí gba country, a sì gbọ́dọ̀ máa bá iṣẹ́ yẹn lọ títí ta fi máa délẹ̀ lérí, tí a dẹ̀ ń bẹ Ọlọ́run pé kó jọ kó má pẹ́ mọ́, kó yá ní kíákíá. So ìyẹn ni mo fẹ́ kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá mọ̀ lọ́kàn. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ máa ní different reason to tell you all kind of different things. But àwa tá gbà fún pé kíran Yorùbá gba ara ẹ̀ kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ariwo ló ń bẹ nínú ọjà, bó ṣe máa ń sọ. Ẹni tó ń ta pọ̀nmọ́ á máa pariwo. Ẹni tó ń lọ ata á máa pariwo. So mo fẹ́ kí ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn kó yé gbogbo wa dáadáa. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i, olúkálukú ló gbọ́dọ̀ lọ mú kí ni wọ́n máa ṣe tó máa áàdì mọ́ ìrìn àjò yìí níwọ̀nba eléyìí tó kù, so that kí Tinubu gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ the last president tá tún máa witness ní Nàìjíríà. If not, Ṣèyí Mákindé náà fẹ́ di president, Sàràkí sì fẹ́ di president. And for every time tí Yorùbá kan bá ṣe gbìyànjú pé òun náà fẹ́ di president, that means pé wọ́n fẹ́ kí Nàìjíríà kó ṣe exist. àwa tá a dẹ̀ fẹ́ jẹ́ kí Nàìjíríà kó exist mọ́ ìgbésẹ̀ wo la máa gbé? Mo kíyàwó Pastor Mo. Àwa ta ní àfẹ́ Nàìjíríà mọ́ ṣokọ̀ máa jókòó behind wàá máa ní Kóìkí àtàwọn bàbá Akíntóyè ń báṣẹ́ lọ ṣèbí ọmọ Yorùbá níwọ náà. Bí wọn náà ṣe jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá, ìgbésẹ̀ wo lo ní tó fẹ́ ṣe? What is your input? Because we all have a role to play. Ìyẹn ló ṣe ń pè ní KOIKIMEDIA. I'm back on the program. I called you when I was off the program. Maybe when you to buy the Tony Bishe, when you're maybe on your way home, or my sister. Oh, you're off. Okay, I'm quite about to check. All right, we'll have to check. All right. Aboromo ye nisin. Role team in play. Òun ló ń pè ní the media role, which is kódà òun ló wà very more important until kódà tá bá gba country. Because if you don't have the media, you don't have a country. Every country have their own media tó fi ń promote ìlú wọn, especially people like us that watch all kind of different. If you look at RT, the West is against RT, Russia TV. It has been banned in UK and European countries after the war broke out between Russia and Ukraine. You can't watch RT on the sky anymore. Àfi tó bá ń lo VPN. You can't watch it on YouTube. And the same thing if you go and listen to the Fox News and the NBC. Their narrative is always to their own taste board. So the purpose of we having medias that are campaigners is to tell those that are still at the back end that country tank with Nigeria cannot work. Beg Jusong. It's not that people that are still interested in Nigeria just want to enrich themselves because they don't want a system of government that we can hold them accountable and there will be rule of law. Because kò sí rule of law nínú Nigeria. Dede wá sọ pé torí pé Tinubu wà níbẹ̀. Tinubu only has a very limited time. Even gbogbo tó wà láyé tó kù tó fẹ́ lò, maximum I give him 60 more years added to his age. So Tinubu is far less important. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ṣì máa exist after me and you we are dead and we are gone. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ṣì máa bẹ̀. And nobody can take away that. So don't be deceived that intention oyewa this that you will people always find excuses. I'm just reading something now on Linda Ikeji and I'm laughing here. A woman is celebrating buying her first winter jacket after living in America for 2 years. To some people it will be funny, but people like us will understand because she must, not that she doesn't have money to buy it, but most of her money probably sent to Nigeria and she has to buy second-hand winter jacket. But now she has been able after 2 years to celebrate a brand new winter jacket of her choice. Benny, Mr. Omo Aladini, there is time for everything. Grassroots awareness is the best and every one of us must be involved. That is your own responsibility to take the message to the people that have to go. Imagine somebody celebrating a first winter jacket. Not that she doesn't have a winter jacket, like I said, but she's probably been buying from the charity shop. Most of us have done it before. Koiki, can't you see the Biafra? No, we are not Biafrans. We are Yoruba people. We are not against them, especially those of us that Agbafu self-determination. But don't come and say because they have declared their country, we should go and do it when we have not yet fully prepared, it will come back as a failure. And the last thing we want to do is to fail. Because when we fail, that is the end of the whole project. So better. Nigeria itself is going to collapse. The pressure is building up on a daily basis, regardless of Biafra, regardless of Yoruba people. Lakaruwa is just doing his own thing in Zamfara. Hopefully by the time they come to Yoruba land and kill many Yoruba people, then they will understand that because you cannot protect your border as it stands right now. The same Lakaruwa in Zamfara will travel down with Dangote truck to Lagos. And when they come to Lagos, what do you think they're coming to do? Ibere ni o. Because they always say Koiki attack Yoruba people all the time. The same crime they're committing in Zamfara, they are human beings there. So don't make it too personal. And what on Pani Zamfara, they are human beings like you and me. So don't come and tell me nonsense that those that the Lakaruwa are killing, and what on Paton she jamba fun. Èèyàn bí tèmi àti ẹ náà ni wọ́n. Ẹlẹ́ran ara ni wọ́n. Bí tèmi àti ẹ ẹ̀jẹ̀ ló ń lọ láàárín bloody wọn. Those that are affected in Zamfara state are the same like you and me. So if Lakaruwa complete their mission in Zamfara state, where do you think they are coming next? And this is why we need to definitely agree and disagree as human beings. But on the situation of Nigeria, we cannot agree with you to remain in one Nigeria. And that is why we are saying to President Bola Tinubu that nobody is fighting Tinubu. And I can always say, I don't pray for his death. A lot of people call me behind and say, and I'm being honest. I get a lot of calls every day. And behind and in the front, I would never say I wish him death. I always add more to his years. I've always given him 50 years extra. So he aged Tinubu. Look at Fashion Otti on the wheelchair. Tinubu will almost get to that age. He will be fragile. So right now that he has that little bit of wiggling going from there to there, he should do something before it is too late. Because the more Tinubu bá ń pẹ́, tí kò ṣe the needful. Some say Koiki Tinubu will never do the needful. Don't expect anything from Tinubu. I said, okay. But Ọlọ́run bá kó sínú ńkọ́? No, Ọlọ́run lè kó sínú ẹ̀. Tinubu is not going to do anything, so nobody should wait for Tinubu. And that is why we are doing what we are doing. But if we don't have all the necessary things to push to the next stage, the building will collapse and the whole structure of Yoruba nation will be destroyed. And that will be the end of it. And that is what some people are praying for. What if I share the wrong leg? So that's why they say, oh, they are working with Tinubu. They are working with Tinubu. The person will not see anything say they are working with Tinubu. Rally is important, but we must also be strategic. Diplomacy is important, but we must also be strategic. Military is important. We must prepare for that. Some people say, go and get machineries. Do you know how much they cost? Machineries. Do you think it's cheap? All the ones that all these countries are using, the Russian one. And every country has their mercenaries. America has the ones that they use. American soldiers. Torí pé tó bá di gbá tó di gbòs, wọ́n ní lè point pé American soldier làwọn eléyìí. And most of the people that are called mercenaries are former military men that have fought in different war zones and different places. In fact, when the mercenaries there, every country ló ń lò. As the Ukraine war is going on, there are many mercenaries that are fighting against Russia in there. But it doesn't come cheap. Táwàtá ìtí ní $1 million lẹ́ní ká lọ máa wá mercenaries. Ẹ máa tanra yín. Bó ṣá lè fi wèrè pọ́tẹ̀, yes, but a gbọ́dọ̀ sọ fún àwọn tájọ pé fi wèrè pọ́tẹ̀ pé wèrè la máa fi pọ́tẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí torí Koiki ti sọ lórí social media pé kò sí ṣe gbá nínú àkáǹtì Yorùbá Nation. bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ sùn tó sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ṣe ń gbá kò sí bẹ́ẹ̀ but ká tó wá lọ fẹ́ fi wèrè pọ́tẹ̀ yẹn ẹ jẹ́ ká sọ fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá tó ń bẹ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá pé wèrè la máa fi pọ́tọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí tá bá máa gbára wa sílẹ̀ òyìnbó kàn nígbà yín sílẹ̀ tó bá dúró pé kóyìnbó kan wá ràn ẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọ́n máa takò yín wọ́n máa kódà wọ́n á tún ṣe jàǹbá fún wa tó bá dúró de Lebanese kó wá gbà wá irọ́ ló pa ọmọ Indian kó wá gbà yín àwọn Asian countries kódà African country gan nígbà yín àwa tá jẹ́ indigenous tá believe la máa lọ kéde fáwọn tó kù wọn ò nígbà yín gbọ́ kò jẹ́ kó mọ̀ pé Koiki ń sọ lórí social media pé àwọn pààyàn àwọn dúbẹ̀dúbẹ̀ wọ́n ń pààyàn ní Zamfara wọ́n ń bọ̀ nísàlẹ̀ o ká lọ máa múra sílẹ̀ o torí a kì í mọ̀ ó lè lọ ṣẹlẹ̀. Mo kí ẹ John Samuel. If you don't understand Yoruba, I can't help you. But like I always say, we do speak English. But èdè Yorùbá ó jẹ wá lógún. Especially tá a bá fẹ́ bá mẹ́sẹ̀gì tá a fẹ́ jẹ́ kẹ́ mú tá a fẹ́ sọ àtẹni tó bá gbọ́ Yorùbá. That technology is there. Tí bá sọ Yorùbá gan, what should be translated? That is the beauty of the technology that we have today. But òkodù ọ̀rọ̀ ni pé we must be strategic to exit Nigeria. Very, very strategic. If we are going to turn it to anarchy, it still has to be strategic. If we are going to do it violently, it must be strategic. If we are going to do it peaceful, it still has to be strategic. Everything must be strategic, but doesn't have to be perfect. So if anybody bandrode where you will get a perfection in a Yoruba nation movement like this, you are fooling yourself. Somebody called me yesterday and said, why have they dissolved the cabinet of the just formed country? I said, what do you want me to do? Ṣé mo wà nínú government wọn ni? I'm sure I heard that Simon said they will dissolve the government. Dissolve the cabinet. But I am not there. I don't know. If anything they say is what we have to listen to. So I called that uncle. We spoke for like 20 minutes because he was a bit concerned that why have they just dissolved the cabinet of the Biafra government in exile? I said, well, they have a lot of people that can take the position. It is and that's the question people always ask. Who is your leader? And that's why I always ask you. Because anytime you ask who is our leader, you are the most stupid individual. Who is our leader? I expect you to be saying, I, Olayomi Koiki, I am also a true leader that will lead the Yoruba nation into a government. But because your balls have been squeezed by the Fulanis and the Yoruba in Nigeria, so that is why we have to think for most of you. Koiki, you remember it was once said that Fulani herdsmen can never get to Yoruba land. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni ẹ̀gbọ́n mi. Message ẹ send yẹ ẹ mọ̀ pé nọ́mbà mẹ́ta ní àbúrò rẹ̀ lọ ní. Mo ń try láti ti ka message yẹn bọ̀ mo ò rí. Bí akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ flash mi kí n. Okay, mo ti rí. Okay. I've read your message, but it's not for public consumption. We must start even having formation. I'm telling Baba to say, look, we need somebody that can become our foreign ambassador. Even if we don't have government in exile, we can set up shadow government. People that we can push and say, look, eba wa lọ síbi báyìí, eba wa lọ báyìí, eléyìí má sọ síta o. Do you think that Tinubu knows that you are talking to any country? Tinubu will use all the means to stop it, even as a Yoruba man. If Tinubu is aware that Yoruba people are talking to any country around the world, he will infiltrate that country and convince them that that is not the right time. Why are you doing that? All he needs to look, government is powerful. They have money, they have everything. We sit here now. donate money, they don't donate. You think that all the donation I was asking for during the Biafra, no donation came, but it's a normal thing for me to do, and it's a normal thing for me to ask. Every people who donate for me were all Yoruba people. I want to fund any normal contribution economy. But imagine Tinubu that has access to the coffer of the government. If Tinubu need $1 million now, even Dangote will say, I give you $2 million. Me, I sit here now. How many Yoruba people won't give us 100,000 pounds today? Talole for me 100,000 pounds and give me 3 months and see what we can do with it. Don't borrow me because I don't have where I will give you back. Just say, Koiki, I got 100,000 pounds that I want to inject in this movement, and I want to keep you, put it in your care and see what I can do with it. Just give me 3 months. I won't tell you what I will do with it on the social media. I will be very stupid. But I will give you all the details report which you will see on the social media yourself. That is what we should start thinking. All the Yoruba people where they build houses in Nigeria today, especially anywhere in the north, I pray you have access to that properties later on. If it's in the southwest, there is no security for it. Even Sanwo-Olu knows that there's no security in Lagos State. Because you cannot be running a government in Lagos State that is infiltrated with sleeper cells. I don't think you know what is sleeper cells. People that they are, you see, Achi was asking me, excuse me, that what would they drink? I have a nice drink I was having here. It's not water. I know they say make we drink a lot of water. But this is where my tropical juice. I won't drink, I'll cover the screen. You want to see my throat. We are friends here now, we are family. So if anybody, Olamide Kontaiwo AD, Bukini, Ama Bere rally, there's no doubt about it, but we must be strategic. Because I don't want you to go out on a rally and you are being shot at and we don't know what to do. I don't want you to be taken to police station and we don't know what to do. Because Toba Muyinisi, Koiki, wanted to move out, hey, I like Bononko Wano. All that, we must think about it this time around. Do we want to go out and do a rally and then police will take anybody to the police station and we don't know the next move to do? We don't have to announce everything on the social media, is it? But we must be strategic this time around. So you say that can it take time? It took 2 years for the planning of the D-Day. I did a program about it and in my kitchen here. Ọdún méjì ló fi prepare the D-Day landing. How many people remember the program? Gbogbo program tàbá ṣe gbọ́dọ̀ máa rántí. Lóòótọ́ ohun èmi náà pé bí Biafra ṣe declare yẹn, Bàbá Akintoye náà jáde kó declare. But we must be strategic. And we have intelligent people that are sitting behind the fence, but they are not getting involved. And this is where I find it very, difficult to understand why they are doing that. Nigeria is at the end of its crossroad. There's no doubt about it. The line is open. We have 1 hour to play with. So I'll just open the phone line. The convention of the Biafra has been done. Message. Yoruba and Midowo will not for KOIKIMEDIA now, for this movement. I am at the receiving end and I know we don't have money. I know it's not something you want us to say, but that is the truth. Especially the movement was divided by Duponitiri. And nothing has come out from them. They are stuck. I'm listening to so many videos, audio that has been sent to me. Which one is this picture? Picture Ubati, Afenifere, the second version or the first version, they went to visit Tinubu. I think we have the video. Tinubu sọ fún wọn pé nobody will break up Nigeria. I don't know whether I can find the video. I have it here somewhere. Nígbà tó lọ yọjú sí Tinubu, the line is open. My phone number is the one tó wà ní ìsàlẹ̀. Studio number. Tẹ́ bá pè, I'll pick up your call. David Okafoni, I have to advise the Oduduwa nation to start immediately to declare Republic of Oduduwa. Well, it is easier said than done. It took your government planning and time. Nobody will push us for declaration. But it is the right thing to say. You did not just declare within 1 year. It took time and preparation. We are still preparing and it will be done. But thank you so much for your concern. Nigeria remain unstable.
There is no land called Nigeria. There is no language called Nigeria. There are no people called Nigerians. We are only deceiving ourselves.
We are not Nigerian.
Okay, where is Nigeria? Where is the land called Nigeria? What is the Nigerian language? We are nations that had been forced together to live in one pathetic country. So anybody who goes there today to say pray for Nigeria, that person is just deceiving himself, because the people who want to be that Nigeria had not sat down to agree if they want to be Nigeria.
I mean the one before that with picture of Gowani Ati Buhari. The reason why I use that picture sometimes is to remind people about Justin Webley. I did a program about him. That's why I still have it on my archive. Erotic Justin Webley, the Archbishop that resigned after he did not report a pedophile. I'm looking for Tinubu's video with the Afenifere. Our kings are quiet because they are still in love with Tinubu to still remain the president. So don't expect too much from your king. But we will continue to talk to them and ask them that our right to self-determination must be respected. So that's the video I'm looking for right now. Because I have a lot of things on the software. Moke Olakunle. Yeah, Justin Webley ni àti Buhari àti Sultan of Sokoto. Many people don't know the value of who we are, but we must continue to tell them that we are the most valuable people. Just listen to this while I'm still looking for the right video I'm looking for.
And it was dug up in 1965 by Thurston Shaw and his team, an archaeologist. It is about 13,000 years old. And my colleague Katerina Havati used a new technique of digitizing the surface of the skull in 1972. And she found, as I did, that it does not look like recent African material. So here we've got a recent African skull, and here's the skull from Iwo Eleru in Nigeria. You can see that this skull is much longer, it's much lower. And all in all, it's got a much more what we could call primitive appearance, even though it's only 13,000 years old. And in Katerina's analyses, she found that the nearest neighbour, in terms of the overall shape of the skull, was this specimen from Tanzania, from a site called Ngaloba, which is, we think, about 140,000 years old. So you've got a specimen that's only 13,000 years old, but it looks like it should be, another 100,000 years older in terms of its shape.
So what's going on?
So this suggests that human evolution in Africa was more complex, that the transition to modern humans was not a straight kind of transition and then a cut-off. The archaic humans did not necessarily die away once they'd given rise to modern humans. They may have been living in some parts of Africa alongside, in a sense, their descendants, and perhaps exchanging genes with them, just as Neanderthals seem to have interbred with people outside of Africa.
As far as I'm concerned, yes, I'm satisfied we are still existing as a united nation. after that little fracas. Thank God.
Emma I didn't realize that my mic was on and there will be some interference there. Gowon says that after a little fracas that led to 5 million people that died, imagine Gowon is still excited that there is still one unity or united Nigeria. Okay, Mr. Farr. Remember this Gowon. This was when they were having, I think when Tinubu became the president and the event in Abuja or something. The Egbon Koti Gowon is up. Yakubu Gowon. Yakubu Gowon, people like that are shocked now that the people of the Biafrans have taken the battle out to them. And everybody is just waiting for what is the next move for the Yoruba nation as well. What they think they will be if Yoruba people declare the reaction. Even the Biafrans need the Yoruba to declare now. That's why they are making every comment there. Yoruba people, we are pleading with you, go and declare so that it's not just us alone. No. They know the importance of that. But we must be strategic and prepared. And it's getting closer. Because the last thing is, you must be prepared to defend the territory. It's the easiest thing is to declare. To defend it is the next thing. You have the right to declare anywhere. You can declare Yoruba country out of nowhere, just as they did. But can you defend it and get a demo? Or can we be out on the street with over 2 million Yoruba people are shut down everywhere? This is possible. But that's a job for you and me. There is a lot of work to do. This program has just 30 more minutes. It won't be more than 3 hours. And we've done 2 hours, 27 minutes. So you can go until go answer again. Let's go back and listen to
him. We've made it to 6 years. And as far as I'm concerned, yes, I'm satisfied. We are still existing as a united nation after that little fracas. Thank God we've made it to 6 years. And I hope we'll make another 60 years.
Gowon, we cannot make another 60 years. It is too late, sir. And that 60 years, sir, you know go die before we exit Nigeria as well. You have witnessed the Biafra, whether people agree with it or not. Gowon has witnessed the Biafran exit. But the Biafra needs to do their own little thing to continue while the Yoruba prepare for their own exit. So Gowon, forget about this another 60 years. Another 60 years, we should be talking about, at least I will be 100 years old. And I should witness massive transformation, innovative technology in Yoruba land by that time. How long will it take Dubai to become very powerful? So this Gowon talking about, he prays that Nigeria will have another 60 years. And allow you to talk. I think there's a caller that is coming through. Let's take that call. And it's one of my beautiful mother and a strong supporter of the Yoruba nation. Hello, ma. Hello, Etu Alori line. All right, let's give her a bit of time. It looks like it's connecting. You're live.
for the great job you are doing. Nǹkan méjì ni mo fẹ́ pe àkíyèsí wa sí. Funding wa, I think people are having problem. Ó dẹ̀ ti wà for a very long time. There was a time tí a lo this just given. Ó wà straightforward. Ó dẹ̀ wà easy to put any amount anytime. Èèyàn bá fẹ́. So bóyá wọ́n á bá wa wò to be an alternative account for fundraising. A lot of people wọ́n fẹ́ fi owó sí funding, but it's a bit difficult to be honest. Sometimes you struggle with it before you can get through to it. Come bá wa wò, please. Ìyẹn 1, 2. Àwọn Biafra, personally, I'm happy for them. They've done a great thing. Ṣùgbọ́n, there's a but. I'm from Ondo State. Ondo State is part of the Biafra. All of your Ondo State, part of the Ondo State, it's all hard. We are not Biafras. We are not Igbos. We are Yorubas. Come across the Wahanga. Come maintain the individual, maintain the territory. So that we, after declaration, after individual nation has been, sorted out, have our independence. We don't want to be fighting over land. It's too early to be trespassing. So àwọn nǹkan tẹ́mi fẹ́ sọ nìyẹn. And Yorùbá we are a bit difficult. À ń gbọ́ra wa yé, a máa ń takora wa jù. The time we stop it, kò lè ràn wá lọ́wọ́. Ká stop pẹ̀ káwọn ohun tá ń ṣe. So we need to come together. Ìjà ìkókò ṣe ìjà ẹnìkan àbí ká máa pínra síbí pínra ẹ̀mí tẹ́nìkan ẹ̀mí òkè tẹ́nìkan. It's time we come together and fight this cause. Kó àkàdé ní àṣewọ́. So those are the area tí mo fẹ́ kí a. So thank you so much.
And let me quickly buttress on the area of land dispute. A lot of concern from the Yoruba that nobody, including the new Biafra nation, would encroach, would take, would add land that is not theirs, because land is the most important tool. And I believe our leaders would have to address those gray areas quickly, as it is still early to even be pushing that, hey, Biafra won't take part of our land. We no go grill. And I'm sure our leaders have seen everything and they will be working on it. But one thing is, nobody can take any part of our land, because everybody knows the genesis of their land before all this criminal colonial arrived. Olukalukulo mo boundary. Igbo mo boundary one, Hausa mo boundary one, Yoruba mo boundary one. So if anybody say, oh, let's add to the part of Yoruba to add to the 40 state of Biafra, they are deceiving themselves. That part is not coming with you. And it can never come with you. And it can never go with you. And that is a fact. So, as much as they are concerned, and every concern must be looked into and resolved amicably. Even as Yoruba has not declared, it is still the right of our leaders to communicate with the USB, United States of Biafra government, and say, there are some things that we are looking and seeing. That side, make no come there, because now we get them. If you go there, we will fight and defend it new. No matter our relationship, we're talking about our land now. Not take our land, Joko. And yes, those concerns must not be swept under the carpet. So thank you so much, our mother that raised that concern. Whatever part is Igbo land, they should stick to the Igbo side. Even if they put it as part of their map, does not mean that they will come and take it, because now we get them. So how they will move people out of there is what we are waiting for. Even if they've added it as part of their map. As many people around the world have added things that are not theirs, and people will still say no. History, but as they say they get their own fact, we have our own fact and evidence. And if there's a land dispute, it can end up in the international forum. We will go and defend it so that we don't spill blood. Because this generation doesn't want to spill blood. We want to sort things out amicably. We want to make sure that if there's a land dispute between us and the Biafra, we want to resolve it amicably. Oh yeah, which side? How you know say this one on your land? Yeah, give us evidence. Oh yeah, give us evidence. If we can't sort it out within as neighbors, we will take it to the international court and say, so time before Oyibo people came, now we get this land. But one thing we would not allow people or politicians to do is use the current state of people that wants to go to push their head and hit their head together. That is what politicians are doing in space. Attack Igbo people. Igbo people, yeah, you to abuse Oluwole. Because when Yoruba see Oluwole being abused, they go abuse their own as well. Oh yeah, go and you cannot abuse our own Professor Wole Soyinka and don't expect people to abuse Achibe. But when it comes to the fact of this generation, we want to sort things out amicably. We don't need guns to go in the land and say, this on our land. We will make sure we take it from you. I'm sure the Biafra government, even if they have sat down, I don't know how Simon managed to do whatever the area that people are talking about. But like I said, our leaders would have no other choice than to communicate with them. So those concerns are still part of what they called dispute. And if there's a dispute, it is the right of people to also look into that dispute and resolve it. There are still border disputes within European countries. There are still border disputes even between Mexico and America. At the right time, we will make sure that all our land is well guarded and protected, even from the Biafra in the future. Even from anybody. Because we must first protect ourselves before we protect anybody. If we don't protect ourselves, the invaders will protect you? No. Why do you think there's a problem in Nigeria today? Because nobody can protect your land. Iruwa Ogiriwa don't wole. We don't know who is who. I tell you that people that at least I know somebody that went back to Abuja and changed their details of their Nigerian passport. Everybody knows that this thing happened. So don't come and tell me that you don't know. He went and rechanged the whole data as a new person. You can't have that in a new country called Yoruba Nation. No. Not possible. Because we don't want criminals that have committed crime, pedophiles. There will always be, but we will go after them. But when you have your land, open yakata, for anybody to just walk in and walk out, like Lakaruwa, the ISWAP, the Boko Haram, the Biafrans are not terrorists. They can be land grabber, we can deal with that, but they are not terrorists. And nobody should come and tell us that they are terrorists. So the Yoruba people that disagree with their nation, you must now still understand that they will be part of Nigeria. It's two ways. You cannot tell every Igbo people to leave Lagos for possible, not even when we have a nation. But you can deal with things with the Constitution, just like I have lived in this country for 25 good years. And the Constitution is what guides me. If I go outside the Constitution, the law will come for me. And this is why we are saying to those that are against this actualization of Yoruba nation that there is a lot to offer us in a Yoruba country as it is in Nigeria today. There is a lot to achieve as Yoruba people inside Tabagba Yorubawa, Tadaduro Gegebi Orilede Omoluabi. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ iṣẹ́ wà tá a ṣì máa ṣe lọ́jọ́ iwájú. We will still a ṣì máa solve internal dispute láàrin ara wa. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ committee ló máa set up nígbà kan bá ní gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì tiwa tí a ní láti ṣe máa béèrè lọ́wọ́. Ó dà pé understand tá a bá ní ìjọba tiwa a nídìí àwọn Ìgbò wọ́n ṣẹ̀ sọ fún wa pé a lè ṣe nǹkan báyìí lórí ilẹ̀ wa. A nídìí Haúsá ó ṣẹ̀ sọ fún wa pé nǹkan báyìí la máa ṣe. Àwa ara wa la máa jọ ṣèjọba ara wa àmọ́ àwọn àjòjì á gbé pẹ̀lú wa. Ṣèbí ìwọ náà láwọn ẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ̀ tó ń gbé l'Amẹ́ríkà labroad àjòjì ló jẹ́ even tó bá jẹ́ ọmọ nílùú. Ṣé má máa sọ fún wa pé àwọn tí a jọ ń gbé yìí a máa lé wọn ó lè lé wọn torí o gbàdúrà nísìnyí pé kán lé mi kúrò ní UK especially wọ́n ti bá ń fún lówó àbó ń gbàdúrà ẹ̀ mò ń bí ẹni o torí àjòjì ni mí mo wọlé sílùú yìí ní 1998 ó ti pé 25 years. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ní ibi tíyàn bá wọ̀ lóru wàá máa tẹ̀ díẹ̀díẹ̀ ẹni tó tẹ̀ díẹ̀díẹ̀ bó ṣe máa rí náà nìyẹn. A máa ní àwọn foreigners tó máa wá gbé pẹ̀lú wa àmọ́ a máa kọ́kọ́ jẹ́ pé àwa la máa ní the best value àwa ta jẹ́ indigene. Tó bá lọ Saudi Arabia nísìn kí ló rò pọ́nmọ Nàìjíríà tó lọ ń ṣiṣẹ́ níbẹ̀ tọmọ Saudi ò ṣiṣẹ́ tó ń sùn á máa ọrùn àwa la lọ ń nùdí àwa la lọ ń fọbọ́ àwa là ń bá wọn ṣe gbogbo nǹkan à ń pè ní ṣàgálà. Ó dà ń pẹ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n mi yé tá a bá ti gbàlúwa òmí ìpa máa wá di ọ̀lẹ o a máa jókòó kẹ́tẹ́rẹ́tẹ́ torí pé ọmọ ṣiṣẹ́ ni wá a máa build ìlú wa to the taste of our people not the taste on fail me see because our people cannot have 24 hours electricity. You are having 24 hours electricity that is not a lie. Our religion would not be destroyed. Ẹ̀sìn Christian ló fi ṣe ni wọ́n ṣe ní UK. Do you know how many churches have been opened by Nigerians in the UK? But they are well controlled because òfin wà. The laws of this country. As a church, you are a charity. I have the right to interrogate you and ask questions, and you have the right to answer me because that is what you register with the British government. But in Nigeria, if I ask Baba Adeboye now to give me everything, they will say, no, I should shut up. I'm asking for too much. I don't get respect. All that will not happen in a Yoruba country. That is why some people don't want it. Baba Adeboye has many branches here in the UK. Mo wà lórí live show báyìí o. Mo wà lórí show mo ní lè sọ̀rọ̀, mo wà lórí program mo lè sọ̀rọ̀, ẹ jẹ́ ká sọ̀rọ̀ nípa mi. Ẹ má bínú mọ́. Ọ̀rẹ́ mi. Àbọ̀rọ̀ mọ̀ yẹn. Baba Adeboye has multiple churches of their branches in the UK. Pastor Jerry has his church here in the UK. They will respect the laws of the land. Will you say because Pastor Jerry now from the East, he doesn't have the right to come and have church in UK? When the people will be Yoruba, we want his church in UK. He has the right to set it up. But his setup must be in line, in accordance with the laws of this country. So don't say that you will not live with the Igbo people or Biafrans in the future. You will have no choice if our government say they can come and live with us as long as the rules and regulation are respected. Because ẹlòmíì kò yé rárá. Tàbá ti gba Yorùbá country, a kò máa lé gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yíbò lọ ní kọ́ máa lọ. Ọ̀dẹ̀, irú country wo lẹ fẹ́ ṣe? Are you going to be living on your own? This is why we need to more create awareness on this platform. So this is the only platform that will give you the nitty-gritty, because we don't add and take out of it. We give you as it is. Because we don't want to mix things up and down. I think I'm going to give one more person on the space. If you come, go straight up, top light. You have two minutes, because I'm ending the. Okay, it's gone. All right, you keep dropping. I'll leave you because maybe it's your network. Maybe you're listening from the Zoom. Oh, you're there. All right, go ahead. I thought you don't drop. Go ahead. Let's listen to you because I got to start winding down. Good afternoon. I only have 15 minutes.
I'm just enjoying your like you online.
Thank you so much, Top Line. So as I am winding down this afternoon, I might come out again later in the evening. We are never tired. It's called the 24 Hours Network that talk about self-determination. These all our leaders, they are great leaders. They are still great leaders, but are they worried that the Yoruba people are going down? We don't want to change name, Baba ADEBANJI. And Fashion, we don't want you to tell Tinubu to keep us with the Fulanis. These are leaders that should be talking to each other. But imagine two of them, they are not talking to each other. They are 95. They are in their old age. Imagine. 95 years old men, they are fighting each other. This generation must not allow such. We must sort out our dispute quickly so that we can be able to move forward. People that left the movement for whatever reason. Any Dupe Tigba country for you, where have you attained? Nothing. Even Dupe self no come out. We no see Dupe Onitiri apart from same audio. Allah take man country wa I think back country wa I to make a declaration. So that means that is a waste of time. Why not come back and line back with Baba Akintoye and we can have the synergy? No, you think that Yoruba Nation is a YouTube that you will sit down there and do Yoruba Nation? No, it doesn't work like that. Let's take the next caller because I only have less than 30 minutes. Hello, caller. The line. It's okay. Okay. We need to raise funds and we must raise it quickly. I will raise the issue with the YSDF that my people on this platform are not comfortable with YSDF. I am just trying to be a very nice person. Many of the people do not trust YSDM anymore for fundraising. And that's a fact. And I will be making that known to Baba Akintoye today. If Baba, if not, if the YSDM do not get itself together and it's like, I got a message yesterday. Somebody was saying, check on YSDM to compromise what? I need Owo and Dawo Pada. And the bulk of the movement is money. Any platform, watch out for that platform. Every platform in Yoruba Nation campaigner must talk about raising money for the movement. Owó ni the bulk of the movement. Kò ṣe pé ká máa kọ title, ká máa glo picture, ká máa gbé picture Tinubu, ká gbé tí Igboho sí. I don't do all that nonsense. I only keep to the same template almost all the time. Baba Akintoye and sometimes Igboho. So all that is to many of them tẹ́ ń gbọ́ wa, many of them tẹ́ ń gbọ́ wa, wọ́n máa ṣì í lọ́nà o. Gbogbo ẹnu mo fi sọ níbí báyìí. Kò ṣe pé ká lọ máa mú title kankan wá, ká gbé title sí, ká kó picture rẹpẹtẹ, kẹ wá máa lọ. Clickbait ló ń pè é. It's called the clickbait. Tẹ́ bá ti click lé lórí, ó ti jáwó. Bá máa wo fídíò yẹn mọ́, problem ti yín nìyẹn. Kò sí platform tó ń ṣe Yorùbá Nation. Tó o bá ti sọ̀rọ̀ owó, platform yẹn ti compromise. Gbogbo ẹni mo fi sọ. Movement wo lẹ ń ṣe tẹ́ ìfẹ́ raise owó fún movement yẹn? Tẹ́ ẹ sọ pé kò kàn yín. Kò ṣe ní Even gan bí mo ṣe wà comfortable pẹ̀lú YSDM, I am still out talking about the YSDM. Ṣé mi ni YSDM ni? Ṣèbí gbogbo ala náà jọ ṣe Yorùbá nation. Ó ṣe wá jẹ́ KOIKIMEDIA ló máa pariwo Yorùbá nation pé kẹ́ fún wa lówó. I am not talking about money for my platform now. I'm talking about owó ẹgbẹ́. A gbọ́dọ̀ lè gba owó ẹgbẹ́ lórí show wa. Ó ṣe pé kó da fún wa, kó lọ máa da sí ibi tó ní kó da sí. So à ń ṣe movement, àjọpọ̀ 2 hours, 3 hours. Ẹ̀yin náà dẹ̀ wà níbẹ̀, ẹ̀ ń comment, wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ pé owó ó kù díẹ̀. Ó kù díẹ̀ fún gbogbo wa. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ adélẹ̀ lérí o. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá tó kù, ẹ lọ máa múra fógun. Torí àwọn platform kan ní bá yín raise owó. Àwọn wà okay. Gbogbo ẹ̀ lèmi dúró dè àtogun o àti peace o àti anarchy o àti violent o gbogbo ẹ̀ pátá mi Koiki dúró dè at any point of time. Kò dẹ̀ sẹ́ni tó lè dá mi dúró. Báàgì kan péré ni mo need one way ticket out of this country. Wọ́n ò ní dá mi dúró gan lẹ́nu ọ̀nà ní bọ́dà torí right mi ni pé kí n lọ defend ìlú mi. Tó bá dá mi dúró pẹ́ bàbá problem ni máa fà láti airport nílùú yìí. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo sọ fún wọn pé mo fẹ́ jáde lọ defend ìlú mi tí wọ́n fẹ́ pa àwọn èèyàn mi wọ́n wá náà máa dá mi dúró máa fa problem tí mo mọ tí mo máa fà nílùú yìí báyà kọ́kọ́ tì mí mọ́lé bọ́kọ́ tó tì mí mọ́lé máa fa sùúrùtù fún wọn torí pé àwọn ọmọ Ukraine gbéra nílùú yìí wọ́n lọ defend ìlú wọn bó bá fẹ́ máa kú sọ̀hún kó lọ kú sọ̀hún. So it is important that we know what we are doing. Màá dẹ̀ deliver message yín ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá lórí platform fún bàbá Akintoye pé wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ wá nǹkan tó máa ṣe o. Is either they look at it quickly, I don't know what they're going to do, but the structure pàfẹ́ raise owó yìí. And when we're talking about multiple countries, ìyẹn lọ́ ṣe website kó tó di pé website ní òun ò gbowó mọ́. Àwa ní receiving end now. Every day I'm getting messages of money being returned back. À ń dáwó owó tó ì tí tó nǹkan wọ́n tún dá padà. Gbogbo owó tó wà lórí YSD ẹgbọ́n mi lè kan sí kò wọ $40,000. Owó tó ò tí ra mọ́tò brand new ní London Nissan Qashqai ó ju $40,000 lọ. Ẹ wá ní kí bàbá Akintoye àti Igboho wá lọ declare wọ́n ń bọ̀ wá lọ declare fún yín. Ká kó àwọn èèyàn sínú problem. Àbẹ́wọ̀n pé tá a bá ti declare a gbọ́dọ̀ kó bọn síta ká máa fi protect ibẹ̀ yẹn. Tá a bá wá níbọn tí a dẹ̀ ní ẹ jẹ́ ká raise millions of people láti prepare wọn sí gbogbo ilẹ̀ Yorùbá pé a ní àṣemọ́ kí UN máa bọ̀ wá dá sọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀. Ìkọ́nu méjèèjì la máa mú. But ẹ̀ ń wá ibi tẹ́ ẹ máa pè bẹ̀ ẹ máa kọ́ọ̀lù wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation ní tí òkòdúnà lórí owó. Look, the traffic ta ní lórí platform wa for 5 days àwọn ọmọ Ìgbò ni o wọ́n ti bá ti wọn lọ nísìnyí kò sí tó kan KOIKIMEDIA mọ́. Èyí tí mo fẹ́ ṣe ni mo ti ṣe fún wọn yẹn mo ṣe tèmi gẹ́gẹ́ bí media organization I don't need anything from them. Gbogbo pé kọ́ fún wa lówó yẹn wọ́n fún mi lówó ni kò sẹ́ni kankan tó dáwó fún wa ní gbogbo wọn. Wọ́n kọ̀ wá wo program nìyí tó tún bú wa gbọ́n tó bú wa ẹ lọ wo comment lórí Facebook mi èmi máa ń ka comment mo dẹ̀ máa ń block wọn ni torí wèrè wà náà àwọn náà díẹ̀. Mo ò ní jẹ́ kó fi wèrè tí wọn kó fi kó bá movement táwa jọ ń ṣe pẹ̀lú wọn torí wèrè pọ̀ láàrin wọn wèrè pọ̀ láàrin àwọn náà and they are very jealous of us as well. Báwa náà ṣe ń jealous wọn àwọn náà jealous àwa náà. Tó bó ṣe jẹ́ ní ẹ̀yìn èèyàn wa àníri jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ lọ́sàn-án ẹ̀ mo kí gbogbo lé mo kí ẹ Ṣákìrù mo kí ẹ̀yin ìyá mi mo kí ẹ̀yin bàbá wa mo kí ẹ̀yin aunties mi. So that is what we need to understand. David Okafor says kilo somewhere. The problem facing Nigeria is caused by Azikiwe. Azikiwe don't die how many years now? Omugo. Baba Oluwole don't die how many years now? Let's deal with this current situation of things. You are still talking about what Azikiwe and Baba Oluwole did. Oriye gbale. You don't know what you dey talk. You don't know what you dey talk. Abi? Baba Oluwole still dey alive? Azikiwe still dey alive? Onyara, onye beribe, on pastor, on man, olórí burúkú, gbàgbé kúkú jágbe àjàgbá kúrò lórí platform ọlọsì. Go your platform, go dey talk that nonsense. We are this generation that needs to work together and push our way out of Nigeria that failed every one of us. That is what we should be more concerned. What about using Yoruba cash for fundraising? Whatever that they think would be the right way to raise money has to be done swiftly. About if you learn Mama, and I'm looking at time, I'm working with time. Mo ń gbé call yẹn disconnect their network ní ẹgbọ́n sókè kọ̀mọ́ ní láti máa lọ nísìn. Ẹni just 2 minutes.
Sorry, ẹ kú iṣẹ́ takuntakun. Ọlọ́run á ràn wá lọ́wọ́. And I think we Yorubas, we need to take the horn by the bull. Because nǹkan lẹ Yorùbá, àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ti ń ta súyà. Àwọn olórí burúkú kan ṣẹ̀ sí sọ pé they want to remain in one Nigeria. Can I imagine kí ọmọ Hausa máa dín iṣu níbi tí ó ń kó iṣu pamọ́ sí kí ọmọ Yorùbá dẹ̀ lọ jí iṣu yẹn lálẹ́ torí kó fẹ́ jẹun kí ọmọ Hausa wa máa gbá ọmọ Yorùbá lóòtì ní ìlú ẹ̀. Kò ṣe fọwọ́ sọ fún mi ní ìlú ẹ̀ torójọ́ máa dúpọ̀ ibi tí ẹ̀ ń tọ́jú potato ẹ̀ sí tó máa ń dín lálẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá dẹ̀ lọ jí torí pé kò sóúnjẹ. Àwọn olórí burúkú kan yìí tí ó sọ wípé wọ́n ṣorí lẹ́yìn wọn Nàìjíríà.
Ẹnu ẹni gbogbo àjọ wà ní sẹ́ẹ̀. Ẹnu ẹni gbogbo àjọ wà.
Mi ò mọ nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀. Ibi tó dé ilé mi, àwọn èèyàn ń tọrọ omi. Ibi pa ìsọ pé àwọn èèyàn ń yòrò BAF. In the major city of Lagos, àwọn èèyàn ṣe yòrò BAF lọ pọn omi. Àwọn lọ BAF báyìí, wọ́n tún ta omi níbi tó délé mi. Lómi. Níná kò sọ hospital. Now níbi tí kíni tó délé ẹ bóyá wọn mọ ẹni tó bá sì tiẹ̀ ti bá Nàìjíríà ó ti increase ní Lagos State.
Ikú ti dé nìyẹn.
80,000 naira, 80,000.
Níbo láti fẹ́ rí yẹn?
So I don't know what is our problem.
Èmi àti Ìgbòho ni problem wọn sẹ́ ẹ̀ mọ̀ pé àwa la fi da Nàìjíríà rú.
Education wa ti wà grounded. Nothing grounded is in kẹ̀kẹ́ na pep lọ wà. Do you know how much they're selling kẹ̀kẹ́ na pep now?
Wọ́n ní 1.8.
Millions.
1.8.
1.8 na wọ́n tó ní is 1.8.
Ó ti jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ.
Something.
Ó ti lọ sókè. Ó ti lọ sókè nìyẹn.
Tí wọ́n fi lọ mí 250,000 naira tí mo ní kí n rẹ́ ṣe. Do you know how much they're selling kórópè in Nigeria?
Inflation ti lọ sókè.
4 million. 4 million.
A ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ni.
And somebody will now any hour that needs solvent is 7 million. Jọ́ ló fẹ́ sọ.
And the problem ni pé wọ́n ní tó bá tún wá sán débì kan àwọn tó ní yẹn kà wá tún lọ gbà kúrò lọ́wọ́ wọn. Tó bá ti di kọ́ ti fẹ́ sán tán ìgbà yẹn ló máa make something kápákápá. Ṣẹ́rí ìlú yẹn no. Ẹ̀gbọ́n mi.
No, àwọn tó ń jẹ lábẹ́ àwọn tó bá sọ pé Yorùbá ò unite àwa ta mọ́.
Àwa mẹ̀kúnnù unite àwọn tó wà lókè dọ̀ ọ̀jẹ̀ unite. Àwa unite àwọn tó ń jẹ lọ unite. Ìdáhùn ló wà lẹ́yìn ni gbogbo picture wọn la kó sẹ́yìn yìí.
Tọ́ bàbá wọn sọ̀rọ̀ ògùn ló ń dá wọn lẹ̀ ní ògùn àwa.
Kí ló dé tí wọ́n lè bá Ìgbòho àti bàbá Akintoye sọ̀rọ̀ gbogbo àwọn leaders yẹn kí gbogbo wọn dẹ̀ ṣe press conference kọ́ dẹ̀ sọ pé àṣẹ Nàìjíríà mọ́ kò dẹ̀ ní méjì ẹ̀wà kò ní mú kankan wá adé tí lọ́ nìyẹn bọ̀tí irọ́ pọ̀ fẹ́ ṣe yẹn.
Pọ́lì ògbà wọn l'Abuja.
Ok, ó dá. Ẹnu ẹ̀ ló gbọ́ jọ.
Wọ́n táwọn ṣe yẹn wọ́n pé àwọn òfẹ́ àwọn tó bá sọ pé àwọn òfẹ́ Yorùbá ní ìdíyàn wọ́n mì pé gbogbo ìjẹkújẹ tó ń jẹ ó máa stop.
Ẹgbà orí kò ní wá stop brother mi. Ẹ máa kí torí àsìkò mi mo tún padà bọ̀ lálẹ́ ẹgbẹ́ ẹ̀ka káṣọ gbogbo ẹ̀kọ́ torí ẹ mọ̀ ẹ ṣe gan mo nífẹ̀ẹ́ yín ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní offline ẹ ṣáà máa encourage àwa pé bàbá Koiki kò ní sú ẹ o kò dẹ̀ ní rẹ̀ kẹrí yẹn méjèèjì yẹn ẹ fi yókù lẹ́ẹ̀fẹ́ mà tí wọn kẹrí Ìgbòho tí wọ́n ní kò ní ṣe nǹkan kan yẹn Ìgbòho ń wò báyìí ni tó bá wúkọ́ nísìn gbogbo ìyọmọ tó máa ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹ má ti jẹ́ kó wúkọ́ ẹ jẹ́ kó wúkọ́ yẹn but káwa prepare strategically ẹ ṣe gan ni brother mi mo nífẹ̀ẹ́ yín wọ́n lọ torí àsìkò ni mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá nílé lóko please use the name USB and Oduduwa in your discussion and stop using tribe kò ní da fún bàbá ẹ ò ní sórí èrè kò ṣe wá bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ ìwọ ló máa sọ tí máa dùn ní bíbá bomb bastard ọmọ àlè. You will always see one or two of them like that. Òun ló ṣe máa sọ fún mi pé èmi tẹ́mi gbé program wọn for 5 days ló ṣe wá sọ pé Koiki use USB and stop calling us tribes. You go see that one are people like IPOB Olushi. One bastard. I've told you that after your I'm not taking any more calls because my gbé mi kọjá time mi nísìnyí mo ti ní kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ látẹ̀kọ̀ àìpẹ́. Kí ló ń sọ? One man went show. Kí lẹ́yìn sọ́nbẹ̀ yẹn? Ọ̀gbẹ́ni wá lẹ́nu ẹ. Ṣé mi lẹ́ ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ àbí ẹlòmíì? Mo ń béèrè ní òkè tó máa lọ. Ọ̀gbẹ́ni wá lẹ́nu ẹ. Kí ni mo sọ fẹ́ ní lẹ́nu mi? Mo fẹ́ jẹ́ kẹ́ táìpù mi lẹ́ǹkan sí kí n mọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ mi ni mẹ́sẹ̀gì yẹn wà fún ẹlòmíì. Kì má lọ mistake yín fún because sometimes comment ó lè wà fún ẹlòmíì. You use Biafra, USB, and don't use tribes. Oyin òṣì, oyin ara, oyin ìbèrìbè. Ó sanwó fún mi ní ìwà yìí. Àbí wọ̀ ló ní iléeṣẹ́ yìí. Ẹ lọ sí channels to see if channels can do what I'm doing for you. Idiot. So bó kí gbogbo èèyàn wa káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé. Nílùú yìí báyìí lọ. It's 3 hours on the dot and I gotta go now. Thank you so much for joining. If time permits, I'll be back in the evening or in the night. As always, it's a 24 hours channel. If I'm not out, my team will be out. And as we always say on this platform, may Nigeria not happen to you. Ẹ ṣé jàre ẹ mo mọ̀ pé kò jẹ́jẹ́ mi ìtọ́yà èèyàn mi lẹ́yìn náà. Ó lè jẹ́ ọmọ Igbo ẹ̀ lẹ́ ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ má dà mo ti block ẹ̀ dànù. Nice Biafrans will not disrespect this platform. And I'm, not even the relationship I have with Simon Ekpa and Nnamdi Kanu. But you always get the ones that will still come and attack us. There's nothing we can do to that. So to all our Biafra, Mokiyami Ogini Fiki, Eshigoni, Royal Consultant, Bukari 920. I love every one of you. I appreciate you. Mr. David Adegoke, Eshigoni Egbomi. Yes, Top Light. Sorry, you want to say something? Thank you so much. We love you. And like I always say to you, you have KOIKIMEDIA. If all the Yoruba media no support you, me and Arole 1010, those two media make a go dey watch am. Sometimes you no go hear wetin we dey talk there. Especially Arole know they speak English. Now Yoruba straight, but he was working closely with the Biafrans and the USB in South Africa. Strong Yoruba, media. So thank you so much to all the medias that are traveled to Finland. Look, you guys are amazing, and we will continue to work with you. And we pray, our PM will be out to come and address us. I can't wait to see the first day Simon will come back. Nigeria will be peace for their shokoto. Thank you so much, and we don't chase Dr. Chidi from this platform. You go call us again. Okay, thank you so much. I gotta go now. Aziz, I love you all, and we will remember those that are falling in the Biafra side that the Nigerian army has killed, and those in the Yoruba side, and even innocent Nigerians that they continue to kill. And on that note, enjoy the rest of the day. Remember to share the program, and always YouTube always remove my notification from you. What you need to do, make sure that Koiki, I don't see your and I shout out to all of people on our Mixer Lab. And don't forget to Nadia, Akin Games, and the rest of you. I love you all. And the Twitter space, the Twitter itself, and Odun Chicago, and the rest of you. If I didn't call your name, please don't get upset or don't take it personal. Sometimes we could omit. It's not because I don't want to read your comment or I don't want to call your name. I'm just looking for the answer, and then we close the program. But remember that self-determination is called inalienable right, and Tinubu cannot stop it. Bye for now.